It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott is in Mexico City. Richard Campbell's in London, England. I'm here, though, and I'm glad you're here. We'll talk about Windows 11, that Patch Tuesday update. So bad it required 2 emergency fixes. Earnings come out for Microsoft this week. We'll have the details as they come in. And we're going to talk about AI coding and how it changes everything. All of that's coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, episode 968, recorded Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. Uncharted territory. It's time for Windows Weekly. Hello, you winners. Nice to see you. And you dozers, too. You don't have to wake up for this. It's just Paul Thurrott coming to us from Mexico City in beautiful Mexico, where there is no ice storm.
No.
In
It
fact,
got down into the 50s last night. I mean, it was...
Wow, that is chilly.
Oh, my goodness.
Got to put on a serape.
I had to wear a long sleeve shirt. I don't know. I mean...
Meanwhile, back in Makunji, it's probably still sub-zero.
Oh,
I handed my phone to this guy we know in a bar last night to show him the weather back home. And he was looking at it and he goes, "Is this Fahrenheit?"
It's a big difference.
Like, yeah.
Actually, when it gets to 40 below,
it.
it doesn't matter, does it?
It crosses over. Yeah.
You know who knows that? Mr. Richard Campbell, because he's from Canada. Joining us now from the other country that uses imperial measurements,
Sometimes.
Great Britain. Have they gone to metric in the UK?
They officially they're a metric, yes.
Yeah.
But,
so it's only us in Liberia, I think, now.
in North Korea, too.
And North Korea.
Oh, good company. Good company.
Yeah.
When you get your airplanes from North Korea, you got to make sure you use imperial socket wrenches.
Good to know. I'll
keep that in mind, will
I
you?
feel like Amazon should mention that, at the time of purchase. But
These socket wrenches are from North Korea. That is Richard Campbell from RunAsRadio.com. What are you in London? Londinium.
I'm in London, yeah. I'm in Westminster, like literally a stone's throw from Parliament. And
the Elizabeth
Big
Tower
Ben.
is right out your window.
Yeah, well, we're at the Queenie 2 Convention Center, which I've shot at before, although I've gone back to the hotel now. Because if you recall, the last time I did it there, they missed me and locked the building up with me in it. And as
What did you
packed
do?
up to leave at 11 o'clock at night, there was one security guard left on, so I started wandering around, realized I couldn't get out. He saw me on the camera and tracked me down, and then led me out the employees' entrance. And there was much chastisement in the morning.
Of you?
Yeah, the conference.
well, yeah, of course.
You were the one locked in. You were the victim here.
I don't think when you were here, Richard, that we ever brought you up to the something just made a sound over
The roof.
I don't know. Wherever my phone is, probably. Anywho, I don't think he went up to the roof, but we have this roof thing, and the door, if you close it behind you, it just locks, and you can't get out. There's no key on even though there's a key to get in. There's no key to get out.
That's not.
So that's where our storage is and everything, right? So every time I'm kind of weird about it, because I'm thinking if I get locked up here, you want to bring your phone, so you can call someone.
Make sure you have your phone.
But we were just watching TV last night, and we heard this girl or someone go upstairs, and Stephanie looked, and she usually the guard goes and makes rounds, but she was just going upstairs, and you could hear her opening the door. And I heard her slam the door shut, and I'm like, "Yep, she's going to get locked in." And she got something out of her storage, and then she went over, and you could hear her up there going, "Boom, boom, 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 boom," like she got really excited. And I went up there, and I was like, and she was like, "Thank you." I'm like, "Yeah, no, we knew this was going to happen."
Been there.
Yeah,
Yep.
We heard you. We knew it was happening.
She might have been up there for hours otherwise if we weren't around.
Yeah, if you
This
guys
is
were
why-
in town.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to be grateful for OSHA and other governmental bodies that make sure that there are fire exits
They do
at all
things.
times. They do
There's an exit. There's 4 sides. You could go over the side.
How many stories?
There's no. Well, up there it's the 7th. There's no fire escape or anything like that. There's no ladder. There's no
Nothing.
Nope.
Again,
I mean, if you're lucky, there'll be an
scary.
earthquake and the building will come down. That way you'll get back on the ground.
could
I don't know.
it could
Not
happen.
a lot of good outcomes there.
Well, all right. Don't go to the roof. And did you have an English breakfast this morning, Richard?
Yeah, well, I mean, they have good breakfast spread, and
little blood sausage, some baked tomatoes, beans.
Yep, all those things, and good toast, but only on one side.
Cold toast.
Yeah.
I love it. The British invented those racks that you put nice hot toast into, and it cools them off optimally, like as fast as possible.
Right. So you no longer have good toast.
Because you want
the guy who gets the butter ready, and as soon as that toast comes out of that rotating toaster, like butter immediately. Yeah, you want it all melty.
I'm with you. You want
poached eggs on, and I'm good to go.
Yep.
So we are waiting. I'm stalling because we're waiting for Microsoft's quarterly.
Oh no, it's not going to happen in time for the beginning of the show. This is going to be an hour and a half later or something.
Looks like I've taken a hard fall. I'm okay. Thank you, Watch. I did not fall. I must have pounded something. Maybe I was emulating the woman in the upstairs. I could do that. Actually, she should have an Apple Watch.
I just put the Microsoft investor site in dark mode, and now I've got Dark Satchel looking at me. It's good.
Are his eyes laser red?
Yeah, the whole thing is bizarre. It's
laser eyes.
All right. So probably before the show's completely over, we'll probably often do. We'll get a quick earnings learnings.
A quick grab of what do you think?
Is it going to be a good quarter?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, but the question, like the question we're going to have about Alphabet and Amazon too, is just going to be the cost of AI stuff and what that looks like. So we'll see and how they massage that, because that's going to be a big part.
What you're really asking is how well are they going to conceal the price of AI in this latest quarter?
Well, one of the ways they're concealing it is by firing people.
We'll get to that. We're going to get to that. Yeah. It's right. I'm trying not to be cynical about this, but I do feel like they're hiding information.
Yeah. Well, we'll be taking a quick cursory look in about 2 hours, and then of course next week the quarterly earnings learnings episode. What's going on in Windows 11?
Well, last week, you may recall, there was a beta build, but not
previously on Windows Weekly.
On this bat channel. There was a beta build, but not a dev build. So I speculated at the time, well, maybe dev is moving on to the next thing, which would be 26H1. And then several days later, they just released the same build to dev for some reason. So I was like, okay, maybe not. But then yesterday came around and they issued, 3 builds, but for 4 channels. And they did split dev and beta. So I don't know why they bothered releasing that thing last week. They're not calling dev 26H1. In fact, it's still 25H2, but it's a different, build series, if you will, build number series. So, I mean, this is very clearly going to be 26H1. I don't know why they do this sometimes, but whatever. So they released 2 separate builds, right? I want to make sure that's true. Yeah. I think it's 2 separate builds, one for dev, one for beta. Both have the same changes. There are no new features, oddly, just fixes. They did say going forward, it's likely that these things would remain consistent functionally, which is what we've seen over the past few years. So as it goes to 26H1, 26H2, whatever, we'll have 25H2 with the same features, right? It makes, that's the way that's been. So that was, interesting and sort of a confirmation. But then they also released the same KB, the same update for in release preview for 24 and 25H2. So it's the same update, but it updates both to different build numbers, right, depending on what you have. And this one is a preview of what Patch Tuesday will be like in February, and there are a bunch of new things. I wouldn't say most of these are major. They're mostly improvements to existing features or whatever. I'll just point out 2 that I think are semi-important. One is Microsoft is really trying to get this cross-device functionality going. So cross-device resume in this case. And right now, I think it depends on your phone, honestly, but it has to be Android. But you can resume Spotify playback. You can resume working on documents in Excel, Word, or PowerPoint. You can continue a web browsing session. I think it I think that works with your default browser on either side, but that's kind of up in the air. And they're updating that to support more phones. So it's Vivo phones. If you're using Vivo browser, will work with that. And Honor, Oppo, Samsung, Vivo, Xiaomi phones can now resume working with online Microsoft 365 documents in the app.
On Excel spreadsheets on my phone very often. Like I know. Look something up, but actually editing it, that's what Loop is for or OneNote is for. Goodness.
Yeah, same. The brown, it's
the Spotify playback thing is cool. Like listening to a podcast in the car, carry the phone inside, comes over the speakers on the PC.
This is not in the notes and it's apropos of nothing in a way, but there's a YouTube music feature that they've just added where if you're listening to something on your phone and you start it on your computer in a web browser or on a different device, the thing you're playing is supposed to come up and you can just press play and keep playing. And to me, this is like that. And I think a lot of us email things to ourselves. Like you might be browsing something on your phone. You're like, oh, I want to save this. Maybe you save it to like document these days it'd be Instapaper or whatever you're using. Or you just email the address to yourself and then you go to your computer and then you paste it in, I guess. So it's obviously Apple does this really well within their own environment, but we don't have anything.
And the existing, I think somebody just said this in the comments too. The existing Spotify app does this just fine. Like if you run the Spotify app on your PC, it knows on your same account, it knows where you are on the phone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot I kind of don't like about Spotify, but that's actually one of the really good features. Mm-hmm. The other one I just wanted to highlight was Smart App Control. So this has been in Windows 11 for a while. Most people don't know about it. Most people never experience it. But the way it's supposed to work is the first time you sign in on a new install, it runs in the background, and I think it's called experimental mode, or I can't remember the term they use, but it basically looks at what you do running apps. And if it doesn't see anything that it doesn't understand, it will just turn itself on. And then you might see it block something. So if you're a developer, you'll see this all the time because there's all kinds of stuff in Visual Studio that will trigger this thing. And the problem with it was that you couldn't toggle it on and off technically. You could actually get around this with some registry hacks. But once you turned it off, which you could do, you couldn't turn it on normally, at least not in the UI. And they have enabled
it again, essentially.
Well, it was grayed out, right? And they just would, even though technically you could always kind of do it if you knew how. And I'm sure I had a tip about this at one point, but now with this update, you'll be able to just toggle this thing on and off on the fly. So developers are probably going to just want to leave it off, frankly, because they're always, testing apps and things. And that's the type of thing that's going to, trigger this warning. But I've even had it block part of an app one time. That it literally said that. It was like part of one of my apps. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. So now I can't tell why my app's not running running properly.
Correct me if I'm wrong, like the Smart App Control is the worst possible name here. This is actually a security feature.
Yep. And I should say, I should say the way that you get to this is to run Windows Security and go into App and Browser Control. It's the top option. And it's not experimental, it's evaluation was that thing. So, but on this particular computer, I'm just running unstable. So this thing is off right now because no doubt I was running Visual Studio and ran into the problem. But the other two options on an evaluation are grayed out in my case. So once I get this update, and anyone else does, right, you'll be able to toggle it on the fly. But yeah, it's basically using what Microsoft used to call heuristics, which they probably now call AI. Because those terms are, synonyms, to basically look at app behavior and look for anything that might be malicious or suspicious, or maybe it's an unsigned app, those trigger a different warning as well. But, you'll see it. I see it all the time because of the developer angle. I think most people probably wouldn't see it, but you could download a random utility from the website, this thing you've been using for years, you just kind of use it and trust it and you don't care. And there's no granular control here. You can't, there's not much you can do. Like it just kind of blocks it. So if you run into that problem, you might have to, and you use some app all the time that causes it, you might want to just turn it off. But it's
And you know what the difference between heuristics and AI is?
Yeah, one is real.
One of them will raise $1 billion.
You're right. Okay, very right. So heuristics does not have a dollar sign attached to it. Yeah,
that's right.
Boring. What's this old?
One's a working technology, and one will raise $1 billion.
Yep. Actually, I should mention a third feature because this is a big deal, I think, for some people. Windows 11 has a feature called Windows Hello ESS, Enhanced Sign-In Security, right? It's on all Copilot Plus PCs, but it's also on other PCs, by the way.
Yep, it's on this one.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be Copilot Plus PC, but if you get one of those computers, it's automatic. It's the short version, more secure version of Windows Hello, I guess is the easiest way to say it. But you can't use it with external devices. So if you have a laptop, it's going to work with the fingerprint reader or the camera that's built into that device. But if you plug something in, it's just not going to work. You can turn it off, ESS, so that it just works. But now you just have normal Hello. And so they've been talking about this, working on this for a while. But there are now Windows Hello ESS compatible external fingerprint readers, or soon will be, and you'll be able to use those with this update. And
this has always been my idea of how I would build a desktop Copilot Plus PC, because you need that ESS feature. So I'd get one of those fingerprint readers.
Yep. Yeah, it's neat that you can do that. It's over, I assume, USB, like you said, and I've never seen one. But I'm sure any days.
No, and there's other problems too. Like I also really want a Qualcomm processor, and I can't get that on an ATX motherboard at this point.
Right. Never say never, but probably never. But yes.
I haven't abandoned all hope. I'm just slowly being crushed to death, man.
Yeah. Oh boy. So the January patch Tuesday updates were minor by all accounts, right? We didn't have a preview update in December. So there were no new features to worry about, which was kind of nice. But apparently this thing literally was so buggy that they have now had to issue 2 sets of emergency patches to fix the problems caused by this update. So one came out.
There's only a couple of people working over Christmas trying to make a patch for January, and
maybe it was bring your kid to school day or bring your kid to work day, whatever. I can't explain.
Let the intern do it, Yeah,
maybe let
I also get the sense the teams are being realigned right now, and the merger of core and client. Like there's a lot of. I really get a sense over the past few weeks we're seeing the teams being shuffled around, and nobody really knows what they're doing yet.
Yeah,
and a lot of workflow stuff, like everything going into insiders, just seems erratic right now. And I think it's
yes, it does.
People have moved around or left, and they didn't leave notes, right? And you've kind of got a bunch of lost knowledge on the workflows to these various insider pipelines.
Oh, God, I hope it's not that, but yeah, that could be.
I hate that it's this mundane, but it typically is this mundane. It's like literally some guy.
Well, it's the mundane stuff that's going to kill you. It's
every time.
Yeah. So I don't. The first of these came out on the 19th, so that was almost 2 weeks ago. Not quite 10 days ago. So a week ago Monday. Not the usual day for an update, right? But how do you feel about Sunday night? Because they released the second one over the weekend, right? And the previous one, as I recall, was about computers not going to or into hibernation or turning off. They would just reboot, remember, in some cases. And there was also a remote desktop bug in there. And then this one has to do with like apps becoming unresponsive when they try to save documents or files to cloud storage services. And it's like, guys, like what are you doing? So
testing's a good idea.
Yeah. And I don't have any memory of them ever having to do this twice with one update, but it's possible, right? I don't want to preclude that possibility, but I don't remember it. Plus, you get that, it's a weekend, right? This is not like an admin level nightmare. Something's gone wrong in your environment per se, but the guy, Laurent, who writes
the fixes for Print Nightmare took several iterations, but that was a security vulnerability.
Yeah, this is not right. This is not CrowdStrike, like whatever, But for individuals, this is your little insight into what that might be like, right? Where, in my case, I'm getting text by the guy I work with on Sunday. It's like I never hear from him on Sunday. What's going on? And yeah, sure enough, you have to. And this is a rebootable thing. You have to install it and reboot. I actually told my wife you might want to do something you never do, which is look for updates and get that thing fixed. So.
Well,
and suddenly we're back to that whole, shouldn't I just wait a week before I do that update?
Yeah. Well,
can you, or does it just?
Yeah. No, you can defer to some degree, but you are going to take it. This is the thing, right? You're going to take it. Doesn't matter.
You're
if
gonna
you
like
want
it, right?
Well, you don't have to like it. They don't care about that. But you do have to take it. But yeah, you can. Back when this started, this would have been the early 2000s. I remember Brian Livingston, who I was working on the Secrets books with. His policy was really hardcore. It was like, you are not installing anything from Windows Update.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I don't agree with that.
This was years ago, though. This was
and there were still raw feelings. I think at the time there was a particularly bad. I think it was Windows 2000 SP4, if I remember correctly, maybe SP2. That everyone talked about for 10 years. As the low point. Yeah. And other issues, of course. I mean, there always are. But this is one of those good outweighs the bad type things to me. I think you're better off.
Well, it's certainly been a thread on RunAs for servers, especially, that the risk of a 0 day is now higher than the risk of a bad patch.
Yeah. Yep.
And how widespread were these issues? I mean, they weren't that widespread, right?
These particular issues were not. I don't think are particularly bad. I mean, let me, in the sense that this is not a 0 day.
No, right.
This is just
right.
Some people would have noticed nothing, right? I think a lot of people,
most people,
nothing.
I think,
especially with the first one. Yeah, especially the first one. But this one, I saw this across all my PCs. So,
you did? Oh,
yeah. I mean, I saw the update. I mean, so it did apply to me. Apparently,
the update, but you didn't see the problem.
Yeah. No. Fixed. Not that I have so many problems. I don't even notice anymore. So, I'm not sure I'd be a good
99 problems, but this patch Tuesday update.
Okay. No, I mean, maybe it was. I don't know.
Well, it's also how much RDP do you do, right? Because this was mostly affecting RDP.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't do any RDP, especially here. Yeah. So, no, that was no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I noticed my stock portfolio is back. We'll talk about the earnings that propelled the S&P 500 to a record high today. In just a little bit, you're watching Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, both of whom have fled the country.
Fled is a strong word.
It was too far to walk.
I sashayed over the border.
It's a matter of interpretation, I guess. I'm still here.
Yeah.
We will
in the free state of California.
In the free state of California.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. You're seeing a lot of people in the neighborhood flying the Bear Republic flag, the California state flag, I guess is a way of saying, yeah, we're Californians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I bought my ice whistles. I'm ready. If we have an ice storm here, I'm ready. But first, a word from our sponsor, then we will continue on with learnings. Our show today brought to you, brand new sponsor. Want to welcome them. Thrilled to welcome Trusted Tech. Now, you really want to know about Trusted Tech. They offer US-based, Microsoft-certified support using a simple ticket-based model that helps businesses save money and get faster, better help and proactive support. They are the #1 global replacement to Microsoft Unified Support, and Trusted Tech will work to get you better service no matter what size business you have. In recognition of that support quality, Trusted Tech was one of the first partners in the world to earn Microsoft's new Solutions Partner designation. Congratulations. That's for support. Solutions Partner for support, announced recently at Ignite. In July, Microsoft will implement a significant, I hope you're aware of this. I hope it's on your radar. A significant price increase is coming for M365. And it's more than just increase in cost. There's a lot of nuance in the licensing. So that's another thing Trusted Tech does really good. They are experts on Microsoft licensing. So if you need guided Microsoft support that's more straightforward, more predictable, and actually responsive, get a free consultation at trustedtech.team/Windows Weekly CSS. Okay? It's trustedtech.team, not .com, trustedtech.team/Windows Weekly CSS. And as I said, they do support, but they also do licensing, and they'll give you a consultation on either one. Certainly, now's the time before July's increase to check that out. Now, I know, they got the name Trusted Tech, but do you trust them? Well, ask Kevin Turner. Kevin Turner, you know that name, former Microsoft COO. This is what he said to Trusted Tech. He said, you, Trusted Tech, have an incredible customer reputation, and you have to earn that every single day. The relentless focus you guys have on taking care of customers, gives them value, and differentiates you in the marketplace. End quote. That's pretty high praise from a guy we all know. Trusted Tech elevates the Microsoft support experience with its certified support services. That's important too. It's certified support services from Microsoft. And look who uses Trusted Tech. It's all on the website, but I'll give you some examples. NASA, Netflix, Neuralink, Apple, Intel, all use Trusted Tech, and they all save 32 to 52% compared to the average Microsoft Unified Support Agreement. Trusted Tech's Microsoft certified engineers first respond within 10 minutes. They achieve an average 85.7% in-house ticket resolution rate and 99.3% customer satisfaction rate. Can't get much better than that. Trusted Tech's flexible ticket-based monthly or annual pricing model offers direct escalation to Microsoft from a managed partner. And that's important. They are a managed partner when needed. So you get the best of both worlds. Another great example, a customer, TaylorMade, the principal architect for TaylorMade says, "We don't break glass often, but when we do, being able to quickly leverage Trusted Tech's professional services through the CSS program and get immediate engineer-level support has been invaluable to us." You probably don't want to ever break the glass, but when you do, break glass in emergency. Whether you're looking to fine-tune your Microsoft 365 licensing, improve the way your organization receives proactive Microsoft support, or both, Trusted Tech offers free consultations to help you understand your options. You owe it to yourself to at least do that. Go to trustedtech.team/Windows Weekly CSS and submit a form to get in contact with Trusted Tech's Microsoft support engineers. That's trustedtech.team/Windows Weekly CSS. Thank you, Trusted Tech, for your trust in us, and we're welcoming you to the Windows Weekly family. Great to have you. trustedtech.team/Windows Weekly CSS. And now, back to the show, Paul.
Hello again. So not too much on the earnings front yet. Like I said up front, Microsoft will be later today. Apple is this week. Apple might be tomorrow. I assumed that Alphabet and Amazon were also this week, but actually they're next week. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they're going to be the hardware companies, NVIDIA, AMD, right. And Intel was the one that has released earnings so far. That's all I got. So next week's going to be terrible, but and we'll see.
It's been good so far, hasn't it?
No, I mean for me.
For you.
Just like having to write
personally,
up all these
yes, I understand.
Earnings they're just terrible to write up. But and PC makers, which kind of follow about a month later.
This is actually a really good place to use AI. I think it's quite good
for me to use AI too. Yeah. You're
right. You're going to still want to write it, I guess, but AI is really useful for just kind of analyzing it.
You've reminded me. I was reading Apple News the other morning on my iPad, and there's a section on the main page that's local news, and of course the storm is happening back home at the time, and it was Lehigh Valley, blah blah blah, some inches of snow, whatever it was, and so I clicked on it just to kind of see what was going on, and literally at the top there's a warning from Apple that says this is AI generated content. Wow. I've never seen that before. So
interesting.
I read through this article and I thought I don't think I ever would have noticed.
I don't think you could tell anymore. Wow. Apple used to get in a lot of trouble for the Apple Intelligence News summaries, right? Because it'd say things like, Luigi Mangioni's dead, stuff like that. And I have to say, I left them on because I thought they were hilarious. Mm-hmm. But they're really, at this point, they're reliable. They're pretty robust.
This was not 1,000 words, but maybe 700 words of whatever. And
it's amazing.
It read very normally to me.
I think we're really this is going to be an interesting year. We're entering a year where AI, all of these things we didn't like about AI, the hallucinations, the weird, anodyne,
the hand with 6 fingers, all that weird stuff,
the 12 finger. All of that seems to be getting better. The companies are working really hard to fix that, I think.
This always seemed like solvable problem stuff to me, but it's definitely getting there.
Yeah.
If anyone was holding out hope that Intel was going to have some awesome rebound, you might want to just turn this off for about the next 2 minutes. last year was a disaster for this company. The most recent quarter was a disaster. So net loss of $600 million on revenues of $13.7 billion in the quarter. For the year, net loss of $100 million on revenues. Sorry. That's the year ago quarter. Sorry. Net loss of $300 million in revenues of $52.9 billion for the year.
Yikes.
That's single digits, percentage points. Like,
yep.
There are way larger disasters than this.
Well, but it's not making money.
It's certainly not making money, but it's kind of stemming the bleed.
More than $500 million a year. It seems like a long-term problem.
So the interesting Notion, I literally updated Notion before we started the show because it always has to update. And it just popped down a little thing. It says, click here to update the latest version. Like, no.
Again.
Ooh, something bad just happened out there. Anyway,
it was the girl trying to get off the roof, probably.
Yep. She landed.
Did you let her out?
She got to the ground. So the problem for Intel is manifold, I guess. But if you look at their major business units, there's only two now. Client computing is what makes the PC chips, right? Their revenues were down 7%. Revenues for the year were down 3% year over year. The rest of Intel is actually doing better. They could have done more on the data center and AI side, right? So that business had $4.7 billion in revenues in the quarter, so it's about half the size of the PC business now. But I bet that changes. But that's up 9% year over year, and for the year, their revenues were up 5% year over year. So that's going pretty well. And then even Intel Foundry, which, by the way, 0 customers, is doing better year over year, which is kind of interesting, right? So the Intel Foundry business is reported as if it were a separate business, but 4.5 billion in revenue, so about equal to the data center AI business, which is up 4% year over year, and then 17.8 billion for the year, up 3% year over year. Unfortunately, it is also warned, Intel that is, has warned that the current quarter will not meet expectations. And, their stock price, which had been flying high since the investment, which I added air quotes to if you're not watching this, just fell through the floor because there's I don't know. I think there's a future here for the Foundry if they can get that off the ground. I mean, there were no
So you're just
customers.
saying the investment didn't work or the money didn't arrive? Like, what's wrong with the...
I think the expectation was Intel is back, baby. There was this kind of irrational exuberance, I think, about Intel for some reason. I'm not a financial analyst,
fab
but
up and running in Arizona that's actually making current generation chips, right?
Yep. Yeah, sort of. I mean, yes, but most of those latest Panther Lake chips are actually still made by TSMC, right? I mean, they assemble them in Arizona, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They'll get there or they won't. I don't really care. But I vaguely sort of agree that we need competition in the space. There are rumors that now that NVIDIA is prepping their long-awaited entry into the Windows and ARM field with several PC makers, coming on board as well. That's going to be super interesting, if only because NVIDIA graphics are obviously fairly amazing. So we'll see what happens with that. But, and AMD's going really gangbusters, honestly, in the PC space too. So if x86 is still your thing for some reason, there's a good option there. I don't know about Intel. I don't know.
All right. It sounds like they need a couple more quarters if they're really going to turn the ship around. But at least they are executing the plan. They have stripped the company down and focused on the 2 business models and doing all the things. Now, they make money?
They need badly to announce a win, though, like a major.
They really do, and they
customer.
Clearly did not.
Right.
Yeah,
we'll see. There's all kinds of rumors,
the Panther Lake chip looks good, but there's been a lot of problems with the chips, no matter where they were made.
Yep. No, they've had design problems for a long time.
What do you mean? How do those manifest? Is it
reliability problems? Yeah.
They just die. They overheat.
The chips don't just die, but I mean, you just run into reliability problems. This is something. Before they went to Core Ultra, I was pointing this out. In fact, I think it started here because I was starting to use USB docks and stuff, and there was something about, I want to say it was either 11th and 12th or 12th and 13th gen where I had huge reliability problems on docks. And no one else saw this. No one else said anything about it. I kind of moved on.
But the problem is it's subtle, right? So you don't know where it's coming from.
Right.
And the response of Intel when you run into these problems is to simply replace the chip. Like they don't hum and haw around. If
they know
you
they
make
have
an
a problem.
RMA claim on a problem, and then the new chip has the same problem.
So that assumes that you bought a chip, right? So most people buy a computer, and that puts the PC maker on the line for support. And that's the same relationship Microsoft with Windows has with you, which is, you have some chip in there, but the other factor for reliability or anything else with these chips, of course, is the PC maker, because they're on the hook for fixing the bugs that are in these chips. And these chips all have incredible numbers of bugs. But they also make their own hardware, right? So they have their own, cooling systems and thermal systems and other chipsets that they pick and choose from. And, they assemble them on whatever kinds of motherboards they have and whatever. And like they can introduce problems as well. So it's not always clear, where the problem is. But moving to Windows on ARM with Snapdragon has been eye-opening in my case, because then you see what a truly reliable computer looks like, and it's nice. And then you realize it's not like this on,
I haven't noticed any issues with my Lunar Lake, but so is it all newer?
No, there are some Intel-based laptops that for some reason are just fine. Yeah. That's true. You may,
although you wouldn't really necessarily know, would you? I mean, something might crash, and you might say, "Oh, it's the program," when in fact it's the chip.
To me, the obvious one is what happens when you open the lid, right? No, I mean, it sounds stupid, but ideally, like with a Mac, or a Snapdragon X-based computer, it comes right on, and it comes right on, and it just doesn't just come right on, but the Windows Hello kicks in and it finds you. Yeah. Well, So the other variable.
Not fair. I'm using Linux.
I was going to say the other variable is the operating system too, right? But whatever. Obviously Microsoft supports all the, modern power management capabilities, et cetera, et cetera.
It's so fast. I have to really. It could be.
Yeah. I mean, you can't doing it,
but I have to do it really slow.
Doing it back to back is hard. Yeah. I mean,
let's see.
I'm pretty sure that screen never turned off, but that's okay. I'm not blaming Intel for this. But I see this.
Oh yeah, no, I could see it. Watch, I have to just crack it. I can't demonstrate it because it's just like.
Yeah, that's good. That's what you want. I mean, you want it to be that fast.
It's so fast that you don't know. Yeah, but I like that about it.
Yep. Yeah.
And I did get used to that with Apple, but this is arguably faster. So that's an Intel thing.
I feel like it's an x86 thing, but in my experience, like, I review 25 plus laptops every year. The Intel ones are the worst. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
If it's the Intel
Snapdragon's very good at that.
Snapdragon is by far it's not even close. Yeah. Like they're in a different planet.
I think it might be an ARM versus.
Could be. That's why I sort of put it on x86. Yeah. AMD is a little more reliable than Intel in my experience, but I also review far more Intel computers because that's what's out in the world.
I think the way Lenovo's designed this is it senses the opening very quickly. So I have to just do it like this, and then it goes on.
Yeah. So I mean, there's all these.
But that's amazing. It means every time it's open, it's on. It's on. It's fully on.
Yeah. And if you leave it open, right? So if it's sitting on your desk, it probably has presence sensing capability. So
that I don't know about because I've turned off the locking. I hate it.
Yeah, I turned that off too, honestly, because I find it to be annoying. But I think many people would find it to be handy to walk up to the computer, have it turn on,
and go hello,
and then because it's on now, your Windows Hello thing comes on and it sees you, and to your mind, that's as instantaneous as that can be, and that's good,
right? And hello's pretty quick. I use a fingerprint reader.
It can be. It depends. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it can be. Best case, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, it would see you coming from a distance. It would say,
well, they do. They can.
Unlock.
Right.
That would be
if that's what you want. I mean, you can configure that, right? You don't have to use this feature, but
yes, and your coworker can't do that.
I turn it off because I'll sometimes have two laptops side by side. So I'm doing something over here, and this screen dims because literally I've turned away from it, and I find that to be incredibly annoying.
No, that's why I turn it off. I don't want it to go off unless I close the lid. But because I think honestly, closing the lid's good because it comes on so fast. That's a very positive way of saying nope. go to sleep and opening it up and it's there is all I need. I don't want it to go to sleep when it's open.
Yeah.
Whether it's plugged in or not. And that's partly because it doesn't drain that fast either. I think Lunar Lake's a pretty nice chipset. It's my only experience with it, so I don't know. And I'm not running it on Windows.
Okay.
So I don't know. I know you're the expert. I defer to you. I
will say, Lenovo's the world's biggest PC maker. They have a good relationship with Intel. That's an Aura Edition thing, which is a further partnership with
Aura.
Intel.
Yep.
So yeah, they're doing something right. And back when Surface Gate was happening and Microsoft was having those reliability problems with Silver Lake? No, Silver Lake, whatever that series of Intel chips was. They were blaming Intel, and Intel was like, "No, it's you. You got to fix that. That's on you."
It's
and
firmware.
I talked to I have friends at various PC makers. I talked to them, and the Lenovo guys were brutal. They were just like, "These guys have no idea what they're doing. We know how to fix these problems.
They've been doing
This is
it for
what
a
we do.
long
Yeah,
time.
this is what we do." Yeah.
Yeah,
I have to say, I'm
Intel
super
workstation at home, which was being so flaky, got a firmware update.
Oh, nice. I have to say, I'm
Did it
super
stop
happy
the-
with this ThinkPad
Stop the
X1.
flakiness.
It ran long. I wasn't home long enough to really believe in it. It ran for the couple of hours I had, but it's like
Yep.
that's better than it had been. It was landing for minutes.
There you go.
Wow.
Well, that's good.
Well, that really underscores that it's an ecosystem and that the operating system, the chipset, and the manufacturer all weigh in.
It all matters. Yeah, for sure.
all
No, the
matters.
100%.
Dell's pretty good. HP's pretty good, right? Lenovo's
Yeah.
pretty good. Those
No,
guys.
all the big ones are good. There's
You
no
were
doubt.
saying that,
Yeah.
Richard, you said in the Discord that Hello wasn't always, it either worked or never worked. It didn't,
Or
right?
it just fails. Yeah.
just
No,
fails.
this laptop is absolutely that. It's like most times when
And that's
I
a Surface.
pop the machine. Yeah. I pop the machine open. It's just boom, you're in. It's so quick. You don't even notice it.
Mhm.
But if you notice it, it isn't going to work.
Right.
It's going
That
to
was
ask
my
you for a
experience
PIN
with
and make
Hello
you
as
manually
well.
log in and then tell you about how you haven't set up ESS correctly and you should reconfigure.
Oh, I love when it says, "Hey, do you need some help figuring out how to take a picture of your own face, you idiot?" It's like, no, I think I got this.
You need some help because some gremlin hunted you down again.
To me,
Right.
that's a flaw in face recognition. I have the same problem on the iPhone. That's why I kind of like fingerprint. Face recognition, if it were totally reliable and always worked and was reliable, would be the best way, obviously.
My bigger issue
when
on
it doesn't
mobile is
work-
that you have to use a pin sometimes, which I hate. Like it just forces it on you. But I find it works pretty good most of the time. But again, x86. It's just happened. I was just doing this morning. The one on the laptop. Every once in a while, one on the laptop. It's always Intel. But it doesn't. It's like maybe something's in front of the camera. Yeah, my face is in front of the camera. Could you just see it? And like, let's go. And then you get the annoying notification afterwards. It's like, dude, I did this 3 times. I improved the the accuracy thing. I rebooted. I did it with glasses off. Like, could we just maybe work for a change? But
That's the thing. If it doesn't work, it's more annoying.
oh, it's
If
just the
if
worst.
Yeah.
Intermittent. It's the worst
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, every time the machine gets in your way, it's annoying.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Right.
You want it to be transparent. That's why I kind of still. The rumor is that Apple on its next iPhone, the folding one, is going to go fingerprint only, and I actually celebrate that. I think that's great. The fingerprint on the Lenovo works perfect.
I'm sure that's a necessity from the form factor. Or
It is
whatever,
because they can't put a camera on the. They don't want to put cameras on both sides because they'd have to have 2 for that to work, and they don't want to do that. And I understand that, but I'm happy with fingerprint.
Yeah, I like having the choice, but
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Hey, let's take another break because guess what? AI is coming. Plus, we're stalling because we're about an hour away from.
I mean, there's no reason to stall. It's just going
I'm
to happen
stalling.
when it happens,
I
Probably
want to
the meeting
know.
next
I
week.
gotta know.
Yeah.
Gotta know. No, I'm very happy. The all of the losses that I've suffered over the last 2 weeks in my 401k have been returned to me.
Nice. Well, that's nice.
Returned to me. I guess it's almost hard. I mean, I don't invest in individual tech stocks for journalistic reasons, but I have index funds like the S&P 500.
Yeah, of course.
They're all so tech heavy now. AI's driving the S&P 500, those magnificent
Generating
7
such high
AI companies.
returns, yeah.
It just drive it. So I guess in a way I am invested in tech. Maybe I should get into something else. You were saying, Richard, there's an EFT minus the Magnificent Seven, which is hysterical. I'm not sure I want to do that either.
I know.
I want to bet on Silicon Valley a little bit. Until I don't.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's like, I wish they were better as companies, right?
I wish it weren't what I'm living on. I wish it weren't my, like when you get to my age, there's not a lot of time to recover, right?
I know.
This is it.
I know.
This determines whether I'll be living in Mexico, eating from the taco cart.
Which is not a horrible outcome, by the way.
I might want to do that. I'm thinking.
Man, I had such a good time in Mexico City. I can't even tell you.
I'm
just
so
great
jealous.
down there.
I'm so jealous.
Eternal spring. Weather's always nice.
And you get used to the altitude, right?
Yeah.
Because I am altitude sensitive.
No, I am too.
Yeah.
I don't like noise or high altitude, so obviously got to be here.
Yeah. Leo,
and when you come to Makunji, it's like you got air.
EFT, that is S&P 500 minus 7.
What's it called?
It's called the Defiance XMAG EFT.
The Defiance XMAG EFT. Okay, for those who are interested.
For those who are defiant.
Defiant ones. Our show today, hey, you want to defy something? Let's defy data brokers. How about that? Let's defy them. Our show today brought to you by DeleteMe. This is the best way to get out of the privacy nightmare that we're all in. If you have ever investigated how much of your personal data is on the internet, but I don't recommend it. I really don't. Don't enter your name in there, but just trust me when I say it's a lot more than you might realize. Your name, sure. Contact info, you bet. Steve Gibson and I searched for our social security number. A couple of months ago, there was a big data breach, and they had a database of all the different data that had been revealed. And Steve and I searched, and yes, we found our social security numbers. This is the thing that gets me. This is completely legal in the United States. Your home address might be up there, information about your family members. The reason is this is all being compiled by data brokers, and it's a big money business. It's sold online. They get the data from everybody, your ISP, the websites you visit, the purchases you make. They collate that data, they build a dossier on you, and then anyone on the web can buy those private details, including, yes, your social security number. And I don't think it takes much imagination to think about what could be done with that. Identity theft, phishing attempts. That's what actually prompted us to use DeleteMe at Twit. People were impersonating Lisa, our CEO, and it scared the pants off of us because the bad guys not only knew her phone number, but all of her direct reports, their phone numbers. And the more they know about you, the more credible these phishing attempts can be, right? There's also the issue of doxing and harassment. Well, you can do something about it. You could do what we did. Protect your privacy with DeleteMe. I recommend DeleteMe. We use it every, and the nice thing is it's a subscription. It's not a one-time. Yes, you could go one time and delete all this stuff. There's more than 500 data brokers. The problem is there's new ones every day. In fact, sometimes what happens with these data brokers is they change their name so that they can go back to business with your data. And I think they also, even though they have a way to delete your form, they're required to delete your data. I think as soon as you delete it, they go, fine, okay, it's blank. And then they start collecting it again and rebuilding the dossier. So DeleteMe goes out and removes your personal info they know all the data brokers. When there's new ones, they know those. They know exactly where those forms are kept. They know how to do it. They're experts on this. You sign up. This is what we did. You provide DeleteMe with exactly the information you want deleted. You have control over that. And then their experts take it from there. Now, here's the thing. We just periodically, every few months, we'll get a personalized privacy report showing what DeleteMe has found, where they found it, and what they removed. So you know this is an ongoing effort. And that report always has more data brokers, more stuff. It's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. You get to one end and you have to start over. That's why DeleteMe is not a one-time service. They're always working for you. They're constantly monitoring and removing that personal information you don't want on the internet. But it works. When Steve and I searched for and found our social security numbers, I thought, let me see. Let's try it with Lisa, because we've been using DeleteMe for some time. There's no information about her at all. in that dump. To put it simply, DeleteMe does all the hard work of wiping your personal information and your company's personal information and your employees' personal information and your family's personal information from data broker websites. This is the only way until the United States passes a comprehensive privacy law. Good luck on that. This is the only way to do it. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private. Sign up for DeleteMe. We've got a special discount for individual users, 20% off your DeleteMe plan. But you got to go to this address, joindeleteme.com/twit. Okay, so make sure you use that address, joindeleteme.com/twit. Joindeleteme.com/twit. Use the promo code TWIT at checkout to get 20% off. This is the only way. Joindeleteme.com/twit. Enter the code TWIT at checkout. Joindeleteme.com/twit. Offer code TWIT. We use it. We recommend it. It works. Joindeleteme.com/twit. And that offer code is TWIT. I love it. You know, it's funny because I do ad blockers, of course, as any sane person does, even though we are an ad-supported network, for a lot of good reasons. So I use NextDNS, but I can't put it on Lisa's machines because she says, I want to see the ads. We're ad-supported. I want to see the ads. I want to know what's...
Okay, this is her job. I mean, that's her job. You can also... Well, no, you can't. So I just ran into this, right? So AdThrive, which is now called Raptive, I guess, which is the company that serves ads on my site, puts up a blocker that looks like it was written by me, which I love.
I've seen it. Remember we showed it.
Yeah, when I browse on mobile. Okay, so I spent some time today trying to configure NextDNS to prevent this. And what I realized was, I could whitelist Thurrott.com, but that's not where the ads are coming from, right? Oh. So then you get into that situation where you're like, okay, I'm not going to whitelist Raptive. They serve ads everywhere. Like I would just be enabling ads. Right. You know, how do you configure something like that to whitelist something only on certain sites I don't believe is a feature. It's kind of an interesting problem.
Let me look because I did whitelist Thurrott.com on NextDNS. And that, by the way, the issue went away. And I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
Well, no, this is just switched to the new membership system. This isn't, which I still have to do. But it's not blocking it. It's blocking ads, but it's not keeping me from logging in because I think I'm logged in.
I gotcha. Okay. This is on your computer though.
Yeah.
Right, obviously.
Well, it would be the same. I'll just show you what I did.
No, I mean, I did.
You probably did the same thing.
Yeah, I did.
There's a whitelist.
Yeah, I go to
allow list. And you see there's Thurrott.com.
Yeah. No, I did it. Didn't saw. Okay. Well, maybe I'll try it again. Reboot it.
It allows subdomains, but you're saying that the ad network is not a subdomain.
Yeah. So these are coming from another company. They are serving ads on my site like they serve in many, many sites.
Yeah, as all ads are usually from another site.
And it's like, it's not like we have a, like an in-house ad system or something.
It's very rare. Most people including when we do direct ad insertion.
Yeah.
That's coming from a third part, another place.
I'll look at it again. I was waiting for lunch and I was like, I got to try to figure this out. I can't get on my own site.
So you don't use uBlock Origin?
No, I use NextDNS.
Okay.
But I mean, I can toggle it off, right, if I have to and do whatever on my site, but that's stupid.
So when you go to your site, I'm always logged in because I'm a premium member. So I probably don't experience it.
I'm also a premium member, but yeah, it's one of the perks. I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore, but I'll figure it out eventually, or I won't. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So if you're a premium member, you don't see ads on Thurrott.com, right?
No, that's correct. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the reasons to become a premium member.
But it's not just my site, right? It's the whole world. So I'm trying to block all this tracking that occurs, the 1 pixel things in every email and everything.
Well, one thing I was very annoyed. I've been a TripIt member since since 2009, and all of a sudden I can't get in. I can't even get in to cancel my account. It says it's blurry. It says you've got an ad blocker, and I'm a pro member. I pay for it. And and it still won't let me in. What I figured out after doing a lot of searching is that if you have Firefox set to strict, it'll block it. So I had to turn in order to go there and cancel my subscription, which I did because that peeved me a little.
Of course.
I had to turn off my strict content blocking on Firefox. So that annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah, that's no good.
I found it's probably vibe coded, and I'm sure it'll be gone instantaneously. But I found a replacement that's 10 times better than TripIt Pro.
Oh, then TripIt. What's that? If you don't mind. What's the?
Oh gosh, now I got to remember the name of it.
Yeah.
It was. I found it on Reddit. I think it was Tineo. It's a weird name. Yeah, TINEO.ai. And I think I get the sense. I'll tell you why I think it's vibe coded. Okay. This is an example of how you can kind of tell when you go to a site. So it looks good. It's the future of travel planning. Does everything TripIt Pro does. I found it really is very good at interpreting the emails. You forward your emails from your confirmation emails, and it builds an itinerary and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. The thing that made me a little suspicious, I went to the blog. And a lot of posts there, but each one has a different name as the author. Jessica Morgan, Emily Rodriguez, Michael Thompson, Ashley Turner, Sarah Mitchell. They're all different. There's not one. And so what I think this is a dead giveaway that there's one guy.
Right.
and he had AI generate a blog, and each one has its own unique byline.
Yeah. So is the whole app AI, or is it just the marketing?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I could log in and show you. It does a really nice job, I have to say. Oh, I have to. Yeah. I'll log into my Bitwarden and do this, but it does I would say it does it's better than TripIt Pro. And so I'm gonna you know what? If the guy disappears, big deal.
Right.
So far, it's been doing great. I'll show you the. Oh, and sports passkeys. So I'm going to log in with my passkey. And I will show you now that I have done all that. So you forward your emails to it, and then it builds a trip. I'll show you the trip that we're building. I built Zero Trust World. It did it all automatically for me. It interpreted everything perfectly. Got everything. I was really pleased. This is a very nice... And it's free right now. It's early access. So TripIt, you lost me as a longtime customer. You lost.
I'm thinking about leaving Thurrott.com because of the same issue.
Yeah, same thing. It must be a better.
Of it.
No. Pay for.
Now, what was wrong with TripIt in the first place?
When I went to TripIt.com, it wouldn't let me in.
No.
See this? Now that's because I didn't.
No, you're not signed in, yeah.
No, it wasn't that. I think I downgraded my browser privacy. If I go to strict, right, which I want to use,
yep,
because I think tracking protection is a good thing. Let me see if this. They may have. You know what? They've realized they screwed up. It's not doing it anymore. It was blocking me. It said you have an ad blocker. I can't let you in anymore. You're bad. You're bad.
Wait a second. You're not an ad site, and I know
I'm a paid subscriber. I've never seen ads on TripIt. So this may be the same thing that happened to you, Paul, in the process of switching over.
Yeah.
There may have been issues, but I think TripIt's looking a little dated. They got purchased by a company called Concur, and
they put minimal money into it. It's gotten progressively slower.
Yeah.
There used to be a time where as soon as I flip my phone back on after landing, there'd be an email from TripIt going, "Here's your next gate. Here's your baggage claim location, like everything you needed." And now it generally arrives several hours after I needed it.
What do you use? Because you, of all people, would need something like TripIt. I mean,
yeah, I use TripIt. I mean, and pay for it as well. But it is not delivering the quality that.
Take a look at this TINEO.ai.
Tineo, yeah.
And then I also use Flighty. I'm sure you use Flighty.
Flighty, is that that might be an iPhone only thing, isn't it? Flighty? Am I thinking of the right thing?
Maybe.
I think that one might be iPhone only. I think.
Let me see. The only app that gets you everything. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, Apple Design Winner App of the Year. Yeah, it might be. What's nice is it picked somehow, as soon as I did Tineo, it picked up And I don't use Gmail, but it picked up that my flights and automatically added it.
Yeah,
Flighty's great because it will tell you before the flight. The people at the counter will tell you.
Pretty good about that. I mean, it has always been good. Better than the airlines in my experience. But yeah,
the airlines. I'll be listening to. I'll have my Flighty going on my Apple Watch. Says, "Oh, you're delayed another 2 hours," and then literally 30 minutes later.
I multiple times. I'm getting my bag out of the overhead thing because we've landed. We're about to get off the plane. I'm usually near the front somewhere. My phone buzzes on my watch or something. I look, I'm like, good news, everyone. United called me. They said we landed. So, everything's good. Just told me.
Like knowing where my bag, the baggage carousel is. I'm sure you regular travelers don't check bags, but I
would throw my
sometimes I have to
luggage away before I checked it.
I know, but I travel with somebody who likes bring.
Yeah.
I'm going to Scotland after this. I brought the check bag for a reason.
You need it for Scotland because you got to have layers.
Damn right. Yeah.
You got to have rain. You got to have tweed.
I need room for bottles.
And and then coming home, you throw out all your underwear and you replace it. That's what Dick DiBartolo used to do. He would when he traveled, he'd bring his oldest underwear and then leave it in the hotel.
Why?
Because so he could bring stuff back because he'd be going to gadget convention. He wasn't bringing whiskey back.
How big was his underwear? What are we talking about?
He needed room in his luggage. So he would, I thought it was a clever hack. The only problem is every once in a while, you have to be careful how you throw it out. The hotel staff will package it up and mail it back to you.
I've had that happen multiple times, actually. Not that I wasn't doing that, but they actually will send it to you.
They'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I leave stuff in the hotel all the time. It's so terrible. I'm sure you have learned not to do that, Richard,
I do the best I can, but it still happens occasionally.
The most traveled person I know.
I have my patterns of behavior too.
Anyway, I do think thanks to vibe coding, the improvement of these tools like Claude Code, we're going to see more and more stuff like this Tineo, which I'm betting is vibe coded from the ground up. And yet, I can't find any flaws with it. Looking at the Reddit posts, I'm pretty sure it's one guy. And he just coded maybe he coded some of it up. It's very beautiful. It's interesting. Who knows what the privacy is? It's some boilerplate privacy statement.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk AI. As long as we're talking AI, let's talk AI.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the Amazon layoffs.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That is a big one. In fact, it's starting today.
Yeah.
Amazon accidentally, did you see this? Sent out an email.
Yeah, kind of confirming it.
To all of its employees.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Mean to do it.
Well, that's why you want to eliminate humans with AI, I guess. So yeah, that sucks though. It's
so what do they say? 16,000.
Yeah, across Amazon. Some guy on my site was like, "This is why I don't spend money at Amazon." And I'm like, "You predicted these job losses?" Like, what?
Well, they've been doing it all along. This isn't the first.
Mm-hmm.
These are executives, right? These are.
Apparently, it's across the board. So. Yeah, I don't think it's
warehouses too. Huh?
It's hard to see. Yeah, I don't know. 16,000 roles. How many EVPs can they have? I don't know.
They're saying it's corporate jobs, which I think means not the warehouse. Maybe management,
right
in the warehouse. So they laid off, according to Thurrott.com, which I think is a very good source.
You can get into the site. So what does it say?
They laid off 14,000 corporate employees in late October.
Right.
And they're going to lay off another 16. So this is where they were going. They said around 30,000.
Yep. So there you go.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that there are 30,000 corporate workers.
Right.
To lay off.
Well, they obviously it's a big business. I suppose
1.5 million employees, according to Thurrott.com.
Yeah, but the vast majority of those are the drivers, warehouse workers, et cetera. Right?
350,000 corporate jobs.
Yeah.
So that's less than 10%.
I don't remember. Maybe Richard knows off the top of his head the the number at Microsoft has grown tremendously in the last several years, but it's got to be somewhere in the 150, 200,000 range, somewhere in there.
Oh, no, it's 220. Yeah.
220 higher.
And it was flat. The big thing about the annual was that basically employment was flat. For all the layoffs they did, they hired as many people back.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting.
But you were saying, we were talking before the show, you were saying that you've noticed some morale.
Oh, the morale
decline.
is in the tank. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The new threat of another layoffs. Like, just people are so tired of.
Well, last year was such just the way they did it last year was so terrible.
Yeah, it was so horrible.
Yeah. I'm sure there was a master plan there somewhere. I'm just not privy to it. But
you have to wonder, though, if a company has hundreds of thousands of managers.
Yeah. Well, you're saying managers, but it's. I don't think
not janitors.
No, but there are still actual employees. You have teams of people. I don't think it's all.
I guess. Oh yeah, you're
management
right.
layers necessarily. I mean, you have whatever teams working on whatever projects. I don't know. They do a lot of stuff. It's a big complex company.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most of it, which I do not care about, but I'm always, you don't want to see people get laid off, obviously.
No.
Especially, you said record profits too.
I know. Well, this is right. So I maybe you guys know, maybe there's a term for this and I just don't know what it is, but invariably. So I'll just make something up here. Like you read a story like Microsoft fixed this problem with Outlook, right? There's a million to choose from, but whatever, they fixed one problem. You'll always get the feedback from someone who's like, okay, but what about ... And it's like, okay, those things are not related. They're not the same team. Obviously it's not whatever. Like it's not, they didn't not do that because they were doing this, it's kind of hard to say. So, I don't know what you call that. Like it's like, so the record profit thing, it's like, Amazon could have funded their salaries and health plans for perpetuity with the money they just made, from profits. But it's like, are these things actually related? Like, I don't know. It's like,
well, you want to presume that the employees working at the company are part of the strategy that made the money. So it's like, now that you're making records amounts of money from your existing staff, do you really?
But are they? I mean, but is it these guys? I mean, this is the thing. We don't really know. Like, it's kind of hard to say. Yeah. Like, maybe these were people working in a part of the company or many parts of the company that were underperforming or overemployed or whatever it might be, however you want to say it.
And it's not the headcount per se, because they kind of kept the headcount in the same place. Are they really allocating them in different locations? Are they hiring less expensive people? Like, it's hard to know all of this, but generally you have companies struggling when they do layoffs, not, just knocking out of the park quarter after quarter.
This is the new math. It's bizarre, but this is going to come up every single time. So Microsoft today will eventually release their earnings. And it'll be like, well, then why did you lay off whatever number of people the past year? It's like, well, I don't know. We're always going to have this conversation.
And it seems to be this element of just keeping the employees afraid that they could be laid off at any time.
Such a good strategy. It worked great for the Empire and Star Wars. What's the other example?
Well,
that's it.
I appreciate that Uncle Satya put out the letter saying, I understand you're demoralized, and then put Judson Adhoff in charge and continued on. Like, they didn't actually do anything about it. Your people are demoralized.
Yeah, if only they could figure out why,
Yeah.
Like, what happened? I don't know. It's weird. Like, something happened.
It's weird. It's the strangest thing.
It is very strange. All right. What do we have for AI? We have AI stuff. A couple of Ignites ago, Microsoft announced their first, what they called AI accelerator, so a processor for the data center called Maia. Maia 100 was the first gen. This past week or the other day, they announced the Maia 200, the second generation chip. So optimized for inferencing, 3 nanometer process from TSMC, by the way. Lots of numbers. I don't know, but basically, if you accept that Microsoft,
big chips are like they're like side plate size, like they're meant for servers.
Yeah.
These are. Right? It's only in their data center.
Yeah, you don't need a microscope to see this thing. It's it's pretty big, but apparently it's the 3 times as fast at 4 bit floating point performance compared to the latest Amazon Trainium, and it exceeds, but we don't know how much, probably by a small single-digit percentage, the 8-bit floating point performance of Google's 7th generation TPUs, which is the chips those folks use in their own data centers. So basically, the big number here, I guess, is 30% better performance per dollar than the latest.
Right.
We're not talking per watt
version.
anymore. Yeah, over their previous gen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about this stuff, but
yeah.
But yeah, they've already
I'm glad they're
deployed it.
comparing it to the Amazon chip and the Google chip, because it's not like the NVIDIA chips. You can't buy these. You can only rent them in their servers.
If you go to the Google Cloud or you go to the Amazon, whatever the Amazon Cloud, whatever that's called, or you go to Microsoft with Azure, obviously, they're going to be running a lot of this stuff on their own hardware, right?
Yeah.
And it's been deployed in the U.S. U.S. West 3 data center region near Phoenix is going online next, and then it will, spread to their other data centers around the world. So, okay, that's nice.
Yeah, good to see a second generation of these chips, because many times when these tech companies got into getting fab work done, it's a one-time thing. They do it.
Yeah.
They are unhappy with the results and they move on. And in this case, it's like, nope, that worked. We've got a third more out of the next generation, which is a reasonable improvement in the architecture. Great. Keep iterating.
I just sort of wonder if this would have, well, see, the thing is, I feel like Amazon a bit, but also Google specifically, they've kind of always done their own thing with chips. Like Microsoft might have been happy to stick with NVIDIA forever. If
Google's on 7th gen, where Microsoft's on 2, right?
Yeah. No, they've been doing that for a while. I mean, that's their, back, they were cobbling together servers when they first started the company. I mean,
yes,
kind of their thing.
They were commercial servers. Like, they were perfectly.
Yeah. No, I mean, right. They weren't like white box PCs, except some of them probably were. Yeah. But whatever. Anyway, yeah. But they've been making their own chips for a long time. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but if you are an Apple fan and waiting for Siri to do something more than just light your phone up to be pink and purple, there'll be a 26.4 release soon, February in beta, and then whatever that is, April probably for the broad release. And this is the release that will finally deliver on the Siri features they promised at WWDC 24 back in June 2024.
Yes, the great smoke and mirrors demo.
Yep. Fake it till you make it. It's taken them a lot longer to make it than they anticipated. But then they're going to do the full overhaul thing. And both these will be using Gemini in the back end. And that's coming in the next release of all their platforms in September. So
for them.
Yeah, they're going to have a little chat bot and stuff. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I hope it'll be really interesting to see if it's any good. Like, I kind of like Apple coming late to this game, picking the best of the bunch, and then doing what they think their customers expect.
I haven't written this yet, but I have this story idea that's basically it was always going to be Google. Like, as they kind of face planted and face raked and whatever when Microsoft came out with what eventually they called Copilot, it was very common for people to make fun of them and like, oh, they did it. They've been caught with their pants down. They're dead, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. They pretty much own the online experience. Like they have so much data. The search thing is so key. I know it can be scraped to some degree, et cetera, obviously, but I just always felt like they were on the leading edge of this stuff to begin with DeepMind.
Let's be clear. OpenAI was invented to try and beat back Google Brain, who was in the lead back in 2015. Yeah. Yep. Right? Like, that's where all of this comes from. And so, it's interesting to see that they did respond and it delivered a phenomenal product.
Yep. Yeah. So, anyway, I just feel like we should not have discounted them necessarily, but now they're looking like geniuses as well.
We'll see. There's plenty of opportunities to fail still. You just have to give them time.
Yes.
It's not like LLMs are great. Like, I'm really interested in the governance that Apple's going to put around this thing in Siri that's going to keep people from doing bad things. When do we get the story of someone, killing their dog because Siri told them to? Like that's what I'm interested to see is how the heck do they
I mean, Apple
not
users
allow this psychosis problem
compliant.
to happen through their product?
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. One thing a couple of like kind of AI related kind of just thoughts, I guess, is, and the first one's the smaller of the two, but we all know that cloud-based AI is dramatically more effective today than local AI. We also know it's dramatically more expensive, like exponentially more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me that in the past week or two, like call it 10 days, OpenAI and now Google have both introduced lower cost versions of their respective AI solutions, like the chatbots or whatever, in like major Western markets, right? It's one thing to go to India or Mexico or something and say, look, we understand the financial situation here isn't what it is in the United States or Western Europe. We're going to have a version for you that's low cost. But they're both doing this everywhere. And or roughly everywhere. When OpenAI did this with ChatGPT Go, the big news was, and we're going to have ads. Like that's how we're going to help make up part of the financial loss. But Google today or maybe yesterday, announced a lower cost AI plan. So they have those Google AI ... whatever plans, right? So the mainstream one is basically it's a Google One plan. So you get 2 terabytes of storage, but you get really good writes across all their Gemini stuff and all the integration with apps and all blah, 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 whatever. But now they have one that is, so that's $20 a month, and then they have more expensive, obviously, business plans, et cetera, et cetera. But now they have what used to be like a 200 gig, it still is, but storage plan, but with Gemini writes across the board. That you don't get some things, obviously, you get lower numbers, et cetera, et cetera. $7.99 a month. And that gets like these price, and ChatGPT Go, I want to say, is pretty similar. I think it's the $5-6 range. I don't remember, but these things, at some point it's like, I'm sorry, it's $8 a month. So the same price. And you're like, okay, well, this is less than half the price of this thing. I think a lot of people would be on the fence about yet another $20 per month subscription of whatever kind.
Right.
They might not use it that much anyway. And they're like, okay, like I wonder why this is possible. And I don't think that this is going to solve the problem of the cost of AI. I don't think that's it.
I see 2 possible reasons here. One is you're thinking the $20 number was a barrier, so let's go find out and make a non-$20 one. Yeah. Another possibility is you've analyzed the traffic from various kinds of customers and realized there is a lower stratum customer that we can charge less because they're costing us less. Which I think is less likely. I think your momentum of subscribers are falling off, so you're now testing if a sub $10 price tag helps.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced that it does, but both are possible.
No, I'm not either. I mean, I'm kind of confused by this, frankly, but but that's why I raised this issue. It's just kind of
because there's another thing that happens after you make that plan, which is you make the $20 plan go to become a $30 plan.
Yeah. Well, they have a $200 plan. So I don't know how many plans do we need? I mean, does pay as you go make any sense in the AI space? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, and that's part of the battle. Like I'm dealing with folks that have 4 or 5 all-you-can-eat plans because they run multiple agents against each other nonstop and have Anthropic calling them going, why are you using this many tokens on your all-you-can-eat plan?
Oh, because I have an all-you-can-eat plan. That's why.
And yes, and I'm going to pin it to the wall until I actually see your servers catch fire, right? Like they're literally running an agent generating tests against a prompt set, another agent writing the code, and they're reading back and forth with each other and feeding the problems back until they finish. And that 24, 30-hour runs like that with your all-you-can-eat plan generates a lot of code. On the other hand, they're wildly productive. Like what used to be a 6-week sprint's less than a week. Like in the dev space, torturing agents has become highly productive.
Oh boy, interesting. Well, okay.
Yeah, and so it's like, hey, $1,000 a month for 5 of these, worth every penny. Goodness knows what it's actually going to cost when the real price tag comes down. Right. Yeah, it doesn't seem like this is. Well, or no, I don't know. We all have this itch about the end of the bubble, right? In the beginning of a of a cost shakeout, and real prices starting to appear. And so, I mean, I am very glad for the folks I know that are running those all-you-can-eats at this level, because they're the guys who bought the all-you-can-eat data plan and said, so how many terabytes is this, right? Like, that's what they're doing, as well as getting results.
Okay. And then this is just kind of this is almost like an ongoing meandering series of thoughts about AI and whatever, because, like everyone else, I'm trying to figure this out in real time. But a couple of months back, well, I don't remember when I wrote this, who cares? At the time, I didn't have the word, but it turns out the word is semantic. But I was talking about the programmatic capability of apps, and that they could expose their interfaces so that AI or whatever services can access those capabilities. So we see this in Windows through things like AI actions, where you can right-click on a file and through a series of right-click menus get to something that says, paint, and then remove the background or something. And and that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting, but the real capability there is that Copilot or whatever AI could also use that interface, and then you tell it to do something with an image. And one of the tasks it might do as part of that is to remove the background. It would, use that thing. So there's that. And my kind of thought at the time was like, this is like the end of apps, But now we see the AI builders, the main, the big guys, so starting with ChatGPT or OpenAI with ChatGPT, and now Anthropic has done this as well. Microsoft will do this inevitably, which has introduced this notion of apps, where you're explicitly making connections with these online services, typically, or apps locally, if that's, depending on the system. And you can use those data sources as you're talking and interacting with the chatbot, right? And so the Anthropic version just came online this past week. They have partnerships with a lot of companies I've never sort of heard of myself, because I'm just not in the space, but it's Amplitude, Asana, Box. I've heard of, obviously, Canva, Figma, and Slack, Salesforce, obviously are some of the bigger players in there. But the idea is we're working toward this thing where maybe this is like the interface, like this, Satya Nadella said Copilot's going to be like the new start button. So it knows everything about you. If everything about you is in these apps, or if that's part of it, it can use that as context as you do things, right? You can send off agents.
We walk through scenarios like this for stuff like an ERP system. Like, if you're responsible for accounts receivable, your job is a series of queries for fetching the data on who owes the company money and how long they've owed them.
Yep.
Like, that could be a set of prompts.
So, yeah. And tied to this, and I think we talked about this last week, is this notion of, last year we were talking about vibe coding, and vibe coding was one of those things I think everyone kind of misunderstood. The guy who invented the term didn't mean it the way people were using it. But
the way it's gotten interpreted now.
But now I would say it's caught up to it. So in a sense, people can do the thing you were just describing and make an app. What we would, maybe it's not an app in the traditional sense, but it's an app of sorts. To them, it's an app. It's the thing they go to run, to do a thing. And it's something they've invented with their natural language, but they don't know how it's made on the back end, and who cares really. But it does this thing. It could be something silly, like a little game. You could make a Pac-Man game or whatever it is. A lot of versions of that. But it could be something productive, like tying together data from multiple sources, perhaps multiple online services, et cetera, et cetera. But you're just talking to it. And you say, I want this thing that does this thing, right? Yeah. And I'm fascinated by that in a way.
Could you prompt your way into the equivalent of a mashup of fetch data from two different sources to give you?
Absolutely, you could. There's no doubt about it. This reminds me of at the dawn of what would it now sort of call the personal computing era. Before we had the PC, the IBM PC, the personal computer, we used to refer to those first computers as home computers, remember? So Commodore, Atari, Apple, TI, whatever else, right? There was and then obviously Europe had their own companies as well. But there were these early computing platforms. They were all completely or mostly incompatible. And as an enthusiast, like I was a little kid, so when this stuff came out, I was like, oh my God, I got to get one of these. I got to do it. And it was understood that you were going to write your own programs because there maybe weren't a lot of them, or you couldn't afford them, or whatever it was. And it wasn't sure, which of these were going to survive, if any. Turns out actually none of them, but whatever. And that was part of it. And so there was a real enthusiast thing to it that I feel maybe went away. I think Visual Basic was like the last dying gasp of that. And then that was kind of the end of it, right? I mean, at some point, you're just going to Best Buy and walking down racks and racks of professional, apps and games, and then eventually you just download anything for free or whatever from the internet. So, the enthusiast angle kind of died. You see it a little bit in the Raspberry Pi space, right, with creators and makers and things, which I think is really cool. Trying to bring that element of it back. But I feel like this, without the technical requirement, right? Like you don't have to say, look, all right, I want to write this game or this app, whatever it is. So I'm going to have to learn BASIC. It's going to be Microsoft BASIC. It's gross, whatever. And it's going to take a long time. You can just skip that step, right? You can just say, look, I want this thing, that does this thing. And it's not, it's more mainstream in the sense that, it doesn't require an enthusiast mindset. You're just trying to get stuff done, and
it's a different kind of enthusiasm. An enthusiasm for crafting prompts and building feedback loops to know if you're doing things correctly. Like it's all doable. I could see clubs forming around that the same way we did around BASIC, and it's just a different way of describing a task.
This is actually yes. So. This is actually, to me, the most important component of it. It's I'll just call it the kind of community aspect, because there will be, for lack of a better term, stores, or catalogs or whatever, where because you're basically just creating a prompt, literally, I guess, creating a prompt.
Yeah. This
is something you can easily share with anybody. So you could, you'd have to make something up, but someone does a really good job of making like the travel app that Leo was showing or whatever. So someone else could take the prompt that makes that thing and say, okay, this is good for this thing, but I want to use something. I want something like this, but for something else. And it's easy to tailor the prompt to your own needs.
Let me give you an example, because I've done exactly that. We have a user group, by the way, where we talk about this kind of stuff every first Friday in the club. But remember, I created that program for myself, using Claude Code that was, I call it Beat Check now. It's an RSS reader, but it has a very simplified UI that allows me to very quickly every morning go through, dozens of RSS feeds and say, this one, and tell it which show it's for and all that. So I think this is soon going to be the standard for this. And I think a lot of people are doing this. You post it on GitHub. You say it's personal. This is I say, an opinionated TUI reader, but I post not only the code that Claude wrote, but all of the Claude conversations, the everything that Claude would need to basically clone this and start over. And then you could say to it, okay, Claude, I didn't like what Leo did with this, or let's add this command here.
Yeah, I mean, just change whatever. Just change one thing,
make it
and
mine.
Turn it into something. Right.
Yes.
So, but here,
I think this is going on right now. I think.
No, no, I'm not.
GitHub's
I didn't mean this to be.
things.
I didn't mean this to be speculative. What I'm saying is this is what's happening, and I'm fascinated by this because it reaches out to. It's going to impact mainstream people, but you got to remember we have this whole industry, right? On the PC side, the notion of like what we would call native apps is going away. There's no doubt about it. There's no reason for Microsoft to create a modern framework for Windows. It just doesn't make sense. They'll never do it. There's no audience for this. It does not exist. On the mobile side, we have these gatekeepers that have their app stores, and this is a primary revenue source. It's a big problem. And Apple, there was part of the U.S. antitrust case against Apple was their artificial behaviors toward what they were calling super apps. So things like WeChat that are apps that run apps inside of the apps, right? Little apps, mini apps inside the apps. And that's what these are essentially. And so this is the type of thing, plus the regulation and antitrust stuff that's happened already and is continuing, that kind of chips away at that. And I feel like, in the sense that like it's the end of apps, but it's like long live these new apps. Like these are new apps. Right. Like we're,
many more of them.
We've come full circle. We are in the process of coming full circle. It's fascinating to me because when you talk about AI, you will say things like, you don't have to know exactly the commands or the whatever to make it do something. It just has to understand your intent, and it's getting really good at that. And you apply it to this kind of thing. So instead of, setting up a new iPhone or something, we're like, okay, I need Gmail, I need Google Maps, I need whatever apps I use, right? You're like, I just need an app. I want to have, this is going to be an app that gives me all the notifications for email across messaging things, services, blah, blah, blah. And like, I think the notion of these like silos, essentially, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Like, I feel like it's going to go away.
Very disruptive. And there's, I don't think it's all apps. I think there's certain, forms over data has been threatened by the low code, no code tools for quite some time now. Like it's really hard to justify,
doesn't it?
That's the thing. But AI is to no code, low code that we've had over many, many years. Mm-hmm. As I would say, Snapdragon X is to like PC processors, where it failed. And then when it finally succeeds, you're like, it can't be true. Let's figure out the problem. Something's wrong. You're not telling us something. But it's a miracle because it works incredibly well. And I feel like that's where it's going to be.
I'll give you another example because, as I've been using Cloud Code, I come up with more things. So I have Obsidian, but I also have a journaling program called Day One that's on the Apple. And I've used both kind of casually. And I thought, what I'd really like to do is get all of the posts that I put in one into the other. And I'm sure there's a way to do this. And so I said, Cloud Code, would you do some research, find out if there's an API, figure out how to do this? Within 10 minutes, it had written a program that it took everything out of Obsidian, put it into Day One, automatically converted it to the whole thing. It tested it with one thing. It said, does this look right? I said, yeah. It's 300 entries, moved over. That's a one-time only program. I'm never going to use it again.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This is like a playlist mover app, that moves between the different services.
You could write it now in 10 minutes.
100%. And in fact, the example I just gave does exist. Like people have, I've done this a lot. I've tried to move playlists between whatever services. I have various problems because I use YouTube Music, where a lot of my music and playlists is actually YouTube videos, and they work as songs in YouTube Music, but the other services don't know what to do with this. And you can just go to ChatGPT and say, just here's a playlist, turn it into one for this other service. It's like, boop, boop, and it works. But you start thinking differently, right?
The key is that there is on the internet an almost infinite treasure trove of blog posts, GitHub entries, API descriptions that Claude can search for now. This is one thing MCP has changed. Can find, can learn, ingest, and write something.
That's right.
And it's because we have all, for the last 30 years, been assiduously putting everything we could think of up on the internet.
Online. So I feel like this is going to change things pretty dramatically. Like we'll see, there are all kinds of outcomes. I mean, big tech is not going to go down without kicking and screaming, of course. And so we'll see what happens. But I feel like on the desktop, we've pretty much given up anyway. And mobile is going to be the big,
and we just have this
point.
Explosion of software. I mean,
that's what I think.
I've had this conversation with a few shops now where it's like how much software never gets to the requirements phase because it's just not the resources to do it. It's not high enough priority.
You as a person just say, okay, I want to, Leo uses Obsidian. I use Notion. You could use Joplin and the other million things that are just like, or Loop or whatever. But you might experiment with the app and like, oh, it doesn't do this the way I like, or this doesn't do this. I can't, whatever the thing is. So in the future, you could just work, you're like, look, I want this thing, but I want it to do this one thing different. And you just make your own rendition of it. And that is transformative. I mean, that's amazing, I think.
Yeah. I think the world is kind of catching on. This is the exact conversation.
Because it doesn't, and it doesn't require the white lab coat guy, the scientist who knows all the hard stuff. Like it just is something people
general users yet. It's still, I think if you're somewhat technical,
there, right? You could do it right now if you're technical, for sure.
Yes. It takes a certain amount of
to some degree
technical skill, I think.
But I think that eventually that barrier comes down. You can see that it's going to come down.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's like getting good at searching, right?
That's the key.
That's the key. Well, but also, So, Dave Plummer, that guy provided a prompt to, I think it was ChatGPT, make a Petzold style notepad app in C and C++. And it was, I'm not saying it was perfect, but it looked, it looked identical, to Notepad. It was kind of amazing. And so you want to do that kind of thing. You're like, all right, So I like Notion, but I don't want this, this, and this. And I do want the ability to save the files locally. Make it, And I know it sounds like science fiction. It's like in The Matrix, right? They're running across the rooftop and they dial in and they're like, I need a helicopter. And also I need to know how to fly that helicopter. And they're like, on it.
It's exactly like that.
Right? I mean, that was the height of science fiction in 1997 or whatever year that movie came out. But
we're going to see this.
Yeah.
And what it is really something that was a holy grail for computing from day one, which is natural language interface to computing.
Mm-hmm.
And we got better and better. We started with assembly language, then we got higher level languages that were more English-like. We talked about this last week. Then there was HyperCard and,
right. That stuff.
And we are now at the point where English,
mm-hmm.
which was always the holy grail, is the programming language.
Ironically, the hardest of the programming languages, but
because it's ambiguous.
But if you know it, okay, fine.
If you know,
if you know it, you're good.
When I look at the pro level devs, sophistication of prompts for doing this multi-agent approach, these are pages and pages.
Of
specifications.
But this stuff will build on that, and that's the point. Like in other words, people have gone to the trouble to do this work, and you'll soon be able to just say, I want this. It's like when you make an image, right? You say, this is very good, but, and I don't know why we talk to the AI like that's stupid, but I do this all the time. I really like this. Nice,
it's so
very
strange.
nice.
I say, good job. Good job.
Nailing it. But one little bit of
easy
feedback.
On the affirmations.
But you go in and you're like, well, remove the person from the beach or, add this a sun or something, whatever it is. And ideally it takes that image and makes that one change. And this is the same process, right? But for creating, again, apps. I'm not sure apps are the right word, but
we need a better word actually. Little tools. They're just little tools.
Yeah, they're
you
little.
You now have a workbench that you can create your own tools at, and some of them are tools you'll use day in and day out, and some of them are tools you'll use once and throw away. And one of the things that's very interesting, Harper Reed was telling us this on Intelligent Machines. By the way, in about an hour, Intelligent Machines, we're going to interview the president of the Mozilla Foundation.
Oh, nice.
They have just announced a big initiative.
Yeah, a really good interview with him. I'm trying to read. Sorry, I can't remember the publication, Inc. or something like that. Really, it's worth reading.
They're doing some very interesting stuff. Anyway, we thought we'd get him on because they have a new kind of AI charter about how they're going to handle AI that I think is really right on. Anyway,
ask him about the Rebel Alliance. That's
what they call it. The Rebel. He wants to be the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, that's one of the terms he is using.
But Harper Reed was saying that the thing that's you got to learn about Claude Code is it's disposable. That what you're creating is disposable.
Which is fine, right? I mean, think about it.
It's key because if it doesn't work or you don't like it, he said just start over. It was cheap to make.
3 years ago-ish, I went through this huge process of organizing all of my photos across all the services, bring them all in, use several apps to do different things around metadata and naming of files and putting them in folders, blah, blah, blah. And right now, I think I could do anyone could do this. Like, here's my photos, organize them in folders, and it would just happen. And I wouldn't have to have paid for a couple of those apps or found them and experimented and found ones that didn't work quite as well or whatever it was. Like it's just going to do it. And this is, I know this is already, when you talk about this, it's like every AI complaint comes down to like, what about the jobs? What about the programmers that
but
are
as
writing
you point
apps,
out, you're not going to hire somebody to do that. You're not going to pay for a program to do that. You're going to bang your head against the table for a while to do it.
And oftentimes it really is that one-time thing. Like my photo thing, I mean, I actually do an annual thing too, but for a lot of people that would be a one-time deal. Or the playlist move thing. You're like, I don't want to invest in a playlist app. I just want this to be there. And I don't want to think about it. And I certainly don't want to think about it tomorrow.
Right.
And there's so many things that fall.
I had Claude. I was downloading images from my iCloud to the Linux box, but of course they're in EXIF format, and the Linux box wants JPEG, and various programs want JPEG. So I said, Claude, from now on, write a little
automatically,
write a little script for me that downloads the photos, converts them to JPEG. You could say resize them, whatever you want, and it knows. Oh yeah, I will. He said, I can use Image Magic. I can use. Sometimes that'll ask you. I like Claude to ask me. So, what do you want to use? Image Magic for this? I said, okay. He said, there's another way to do this. It's faster and simpler. And I said, oh, what? And it do that.
Right.
It knows it. It wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little bash script. It's kind of, and I could probably have spent time figuring that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
not
you could,
done it.
or
would be
you
the
could
other
have a
thing.
life.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. Like I mean, you could.
But this
I've
is
been working on
interesting.
this.
A secondary effect of this is it makes your stuff, your computing platform, whether you're mobile or your laptop or your desktop, more useful to you.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly now we're in a kind of a new world where there's a more of a partnership between you and your computing devices.
Yeah. Right.
And that's interesting.
I'm fascinated by this. Like
Yeah, me too.
We'll see. I mean, but I really feel like this is a big thing and it's happening. And I think it's going to continue to be a big
I
thing.
keep thinking of the Terminator line. We were in uncharted territory, making things up as we went along. we're kind of
Sorry, was that the Elizabeth Holmes biography or the?
It's this.
Yeah.
We were in uncharted territory now, making up history as we went along.
And of course, that was because of Skynet.
Right.
And that's still a possibility. But
Science fiction.
well, that's the thing. There's all this dystopian stuff around this conditions.
Because it makes for good TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. When things just work, that's the most boring movie ever made.
Exactly.
It's like a day in a
And
life.
everybody
It's
lived happily ever after.
You're like, is anything going to
It
happen?
brought
Here?
out
Like, no,
AI
everything's
and
fine.
Everything was wonderful. The end.
Yeah.
No conflict.
Yes. I mean, it's what you want in real life, but it's not what you want in entertainment.
We've been talking about this, and I'm glad we do intelligent machines. I'm glad you guys are on this. I really feel like this is for those of us who've been covering computing, as you have and Richard has for forever, since practically the beginning. This is a new era that's very interesting.
Things are different.
Yeah, it's not boring anymore.
Yep.
Let me take a little break. We will talk more about development. We've got Xboxes. We've got, I'm sure, some luscious elixirs of the gods, some meads coming up in just a little bit.
I had a yummy last weekend.
A yummy. Richard is practically in the home of all of this, being in
Going up this weekend.
the UK. Paul's got a brass mug of something delicious. It looks good.
It's
He's at Mexico City.
kombucha. It's just.
Can you get pulque? Can you just go get pulque? Yeah.
Yeah, I could, but I have taste buds. I know it's not for everyone.
Our show today brought to you by, you just saw me use it. Bitwarden is the trusted leader in passwords, passkeys, and secret management. You can use, for instance, and this is a cool thing they just added a couple of months ago, you can have it generate your public and private SSH keys and then keep the keys for you and even provide the public key on demand when you log into your SSH server. How about that? Bitwarden is, it's because they're like us. They're people like us, and they know what we want. And that's one of the reasons I love it, because it's open source. So there's new features being added all the time. Consistently ranked number one in user satisfaction by G2 and software reviews. There are over 10 million users across 180 countries and more than 50,000 businesses globally that use Bitwarden. One of the things I like to do in the Bitwarden ads is talk about new features as they add them, because there's so many of them. And most of them you won't want to use, but some of them might hit your sweet spot. Whether you're protecting one account, your own, or thousands at your business, Bitwarden keeps you secure all year long, constantly adding new features like, for business, the new Bitwarden Access Intelligence. Organizations can use this to detect weak, reused, or exposed credentials and immediately guide remediation, replacing risky passwords with strong, unique ones. Now, this closes a major security gap. Credentials, as you, I'm sure, know, remain like the top cause of breaches. Credential stuffing, you get the breach, they get your password, they try it in all the accounts. But with Access Intelligence, these vulnerable passwords become visible, they're prioritized, and then they're corrected before exploitation can occur. Okay, so that's one thing. That's for businesses. How about for you, for the individual? How about this? Bitwarden Lite. Bitwarden Lite delivers a lightweight, self-hosted password manager. So it's great for like home labs, personal projects, environments. You don't want a lot of, you want setup to be quick, minimal overhead. We were talking about AI. Bitwarden has a credential MCP server. Fantastic way to keep your credentials local, but be able to access resources with your AIs. Bitwarden's now enhanced with real-time vault health alerts. I use that. I love that. And password coaching features for everyone, not just business, that help users identify those bad passwords and then walk them through the steps, the immediate action to strengthen their security. Bitwarden now supports direct import from Chrome, Edge, Brave, Opera, and Vivaldi browsers. Direct import copies or imports credentials from the browser into encrypted vaults without requiring a separate plain text export. That's always a little nerve-wracking when you export it and it's sitting in that folder and all the passwords are in English. You don't need to do that anymore if you're importing from your browser. Just straight over. It simplifies migration, reduces that exposure associated with the manual export and deletion steps. G2 Winter 2025 reports Bitwarden continues to hold strong as number one in every enterprise category for 6 straight quarters. Bitwarden's setup is easy. It supports importing from most password management solutions, and they're open source. So that means you can look at it on GitHub. All the source code is there. They're also regularly audited by third-party experts. And of course, they meet all the security standards, SOC 2, Type 2, GDPR, HIPAA, CCPA compliant. They're ISO 27001-2002 certified. For your business, get started today with Bitwarden's free trial of a Teams or Enterprise plan. For individuals, free forever across all devices, unlimited passwords, passkeys, even hardware keys. For individual users, the main point is go to bitwarden.com/twit. Bitwarden.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support. Bitwarden.com/twit. Now, back to the show we go.
Yes. This one, Richard, I don't know if you knew this was coming or knew about this or had heard about this in advance, but this past week, Microsoft released a public preview of something called the Windows App Development CLI, or WinApp. It's a command line tool, right, which is designed to simplify the development lifecycle for people who are creating modern Windows apps.
More importantly, to duplicate what the Node guys have.
Yeah, so I mean, part of me, my two reactions to this, because I've played with it just a little bit, is, having set up a lot of computers actually in recent years for development purposes in the for Microsoft oriented native apps, I guess, for lack of a better term. Yeah, I mean, there are things you got to know and then, things you got to do, et cetera. But I mean, I feel like the people who do this are developers and they can kind of handle that. And I don't quite understand what the issue is, but I also wonder why the tools aren't doing this. The issue came down to they need to build a Windows app and they don't use Visual Studio and they don't understand MS Build. They want another way to build, you're making Electron clients for phones and you want to make the Windows version and you don't want to touch any Microsoft DevTools. Okay. So if you're doing a JavaScript type thing in Electron, this is more like it's the scenario. Yeah, it's the folder-based thing rather than like a big Visual Studio project. Okay, because it does work with
anyway, right?
Yes. I mean,
if you're coming from that part of the world, it's why they have the Azure CLI too. Is I want to push to the cloud, and I'm not firing up Studio for this. I just want to do it from the command line.
Yep. Okay. I was just kind of confused by it, but I
would just argue like this is not for you. You work in the Microsoft Dev environment, right?
Yeah. So
this is a tool for people who need to work with Windows but don't live in the Microsoft Dev environment.
Yep. Okay. I accept.
It literally is a response to customers that are using Microsoft tools.
All right. And then Xbox and gaming, just a couple of things. The other day, Microsoft refreshed the Xbox Cloud Gaming web experience, right? So if you go to, I think it's xbox.com/play, it's nice looking. I'm not sure it's all that different. I don't spend a lot of time there because I don't, streaming the types of games I play as a non-starter, but okay. And the first thing that went through my brain was, this is a rumor, not a fact, but there were rumors within the past couple of weeks that Microsoft was going to introduce an ad-based Xbox Cloud Gaming tier. And I wonder if that might be tied to this, because there's no super change to how it looks or works. I mean,
it's just tagging mechanisms to allow an ad network to function. Maybe.
Perhaps, yeah. And then there's also this notion that Microsoft is consolidating their Xbox UIs, and maybe this becomes the UI for everybody, right? Across the board. So whatever consoles look like in the near future on the Xbox side, or just the Xbox app on PC, which kind of looks like this in a way, I'm sure. And by the way, it's probably a web app, but whatever. And then the other one is just that Fable, which is being, I guess, remade, I guess is the way to say it, a remake.
Great Xbox games that isn't Halo. Yes.
Yeah. And
it was a fairy tale game. What's the name's weird?
Fable? Yeah. It's like a open world RPG.
Swords and sorcery kind of game. Yeah.
Oh, I might want to play that.
Well, you're going to be able to, because they're putting it everywhere. So this was what, like everything else that Xbox does these days, it will be on Xbox, PC, and PS5, right? It was the biggest game they showed off at that Developer Direct event last week. It was the finale, actually. It looks beautiful. I mean,
it does. So it's actually this is like Fable remastered or something.
Yeah,
it looks like Unreal Engine. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like the opening scene of the Fellowship of the Ring. Like the movie. Yeah. It looks neat. So it's we don't have an exact release date, but it is coming this fall and across.
But they've committed to all the platforms for it too.
Yes. Yep. That looks great. I'm sure there was PS5 footage you were seeing because they wanted to tell
it looked so good. Okay.
Anyway. Sorry.
Okay. Boy, that was the shortest Xbox segment in the history of the world.
Yeah. Sometimes it's long. Sometimes it's this. I don't know.
Well, let me just, we take a little tiny time out just to tell people to join the club. Join the club. Club Twit, $10 a month, which I know that's a lot, but you get all of the shows ad free, and it's not just the many shows we do, as our big shows like Twit and Windows Weekly and Mac Break Weekly and Intelligent Machines and, Tech News Weekly with Micah Sargent. But it's also all the club shows. You get access to the Club Twit Discord, which is really a great place to hang out, whether you're in a show or not. I mean, there's always great conversations. You get all of those club shows like the AI User Group. We're going to do tomorrow. It's Johnny Jett, the return of Johnny Jett, our travel guru, to talk about traveling better with technology. Friday, Stacey's book club, and it's really good. It's a fun book. It's called The Theft of Hollow London. And the best thing, it's a sci-fi book, but it's like Brave New World meets Ocean's 11. It's in the future, but it is a caper book, and I'm really enjoying it. I think you will too. So join us for that conversation on Friday. Those are some of the things we do all the time. Micah's Crafting Corner. But the most important thing to know about Club Twit is without it, we would have to cut back. We would have to get rid of shows, get rid of staff. We would have to sometimes do our shows in the dark because we couldn't pay the power bill. We increasingly, Club Twit is the future of Twit, and that means we need you to join. If we got, right now it's about 1.5%, 2% of the audience. If we got 3 or 4% of the audience, we wouldn't have to worry about advertising. We probably wouldn't even do advertising. We could do more content. We could hire more people, and I want to do that. I really do. So, if you will, twit.tv/Club Twit. Would you join the club? We would love to have you. twit.tv/Club Twit. Please. Think of the children. Or no, that makes no sense. Just join the club, will you? Please. All right, now, let's do the tip of the week. It's time for the back of the book. Woo-hoo! Paul Thurrott.
Yeah, so related to, I'm sure, what I talked about last week, I've been doing an ongoing kind of security series this month. It's January, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm finally tackling the big one, which is password management. And, most of this, you guys, everyone knows this, but, you want the one password manager, not 18 of them like we all actually have. You want to get rid of your passwords and everything else from the other ones you're no longer using. You want to set this thing up to work everywhere you are, which is your computer, your mobile devices, whatever, autofill, turn off the stuff built in to the system, whether it's a web browser or your platform. Just use the one thing, right? Most password managers just all do the same, things, right? But be sure to choose one that does like all the things, right? Passkey management, payment management, proactive scanning of your accounts and vulnerabilities, dark web leaks, etc. This is time consuming and it's terrible, but having it change your passwords to longer, more complex passwords, good, or helping you through that. It can't just change them in most cases. But identifying accounts that support authenticator apps or other 2FA means, passkeys, whatever, but you haven't configured it on those accounts, key. They also just store arbitrary information now, right? So it could be anything like photos, files, document, whatever. And then some kind of emergency
for for BitLocker, things like that.
Exactly. Tied to this, and it should work everywhere you are, right? So, Apple has their thing, but that's great if you're an Apple and only an Apple. It's not, it's not going to work well if you're using, Chrome on a Chromebook or something. Like, you want to make sure the thing you're using works everywhere. From an app perspective, there are many good password managers. I don't actually understand why 1Password is so popular. I find the interface to be kind of screwy. They almost mandate like having what is essentially like a 2-password thing for it, which I think is kind of weird. But Bitwarden is a great choice. My personal choice is Proton Pass, and that's my pick of the week, I should say. Those two are the only ones that are available in free versions that actually work really, really well. And if you choose to pay, they're inexpensive. The other ones that are good are, highly rated anyway, like 1Password or Dashlane, are not free. They don't have free versions. But and none of them are super expensive. But this is something you might be paying for every year to some degree. But you can get away with not paying with Bitwarden and Proton Pass if that matters to you. And then, I guess if you have to, you could use the Google Password Manager because it's built into Chrome, all their platforms. You can use it for autofill in that browser on Windows. You can use it for autofill in apps and in web pages on mobile, like even on an iPhone, obviously. So that would work.
Proton's to be praised because it was only last year they open sourced all of the Proton applications, which I think is
right. And
important. To be trustworthy, especially nowadays. You want to know that it's
exactly. I actually, I read about Proton a lot, and I think it might have been in the context of their Authenticator app, which is
I started using that, by the way, based on your recommendation.
Love it, right?
Yeah, very happy.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And someone said, well, can we trust a company this small? And I was like, that's kind of the point. I get this stuff off the big companies. Like the better question maybe is, can we trust these big companies? And I think,
what's happening in Europe. We had Patrick Beja from France on Twitter on Sunday, and he said, there is a concerted effort in Europe to get off of American technology.
Yeah, this is Cory Doctorow's new pushes for what he calls the post-American internet.
He wants Canada to become, and I think he's smart. I don't know if Canada will do this. In fact, I know they won't. But he wants them to kind of abrogate all of the agreements that they have with the intellectual property, World Intellectual Property Organization. Right,
because we are violating the tariff laws that
they might be pissed off enough to do that. And if they, what he wants is if the reason, WIPO went around at the behest of the United States to every country in the world and said, no, you got to make sure reverse engineering is made illegal. Reverse
engineering is key to all of this. This is
and he says, if there were one country that just said, look, you can reverse engineer here, we're not going to enforce, we're not going to do that.
Oh my God, that would be
all of this stuff could be reverse engineered, especially now.
Exactly. You can use the ink you want in the printer you want. You can fix your own tractor. You can, whatever it is.
Canada. It might be Ukraine. It might be.
It could be the Bahamas. It doesn't. It's just there needs to be one jurisdiction in the world that is not enforcing this reverse engineering prohibition
and advertising it as you can do whatever you want here with regards to reverse engineering.
It could be the Bahamas. When I was in NASA many years ago, they said we want to become a data-free zone. We think we understand that we have no economy. It's tourism and that's it.
Right. A free data zone.
If we became, he said, we used to be a place for pirates.
Yeah. Right. I don't understand. I'm not a legal expert of any kind, of course, but one of the center confusions I have here is we have specific laws in the United States around ownership. And so you could say something like, well, this is my iPhone. I own this phone. This is my phone. But once you make anything that could be reverse engineered, part of it, the DMCA kicks in, and now you can't. Now you can't
right.
do what you want to your device. I don't understand why that supersedes my right of ownership as an individual. Like, I just don't understand, how does that take precedent? I mean, they just artificially create EULAs and software systems specifically so it would have to be reverse engineered for you to do what you want.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
the
against
other
the law.
approach to this is the right to repair laws.
It is.
It should be fixable, and it should be.
I wish somebody would do this with a
100%.
phone. I want something it doesn't have to be as good as the iPhone, but close to as good as the iPhone or the Pixel phone.
I think
it's really open.
I feel like this is inevitable. It's just, there's going to be so much pushback, and it's going to take a while. But why some company hasn't stepped up? But the EU should just do this. Look, the whole point of the tariff thing was that we'll have something like the DMCA because you require that.
Right.
But now you're just overcharging us on tariffs. So guess what? You're violating that agreement. We're going to violate the agreement and not reverse engineer your technology.
Here's a good example.
That's what happens.
This little mini e-ink reader.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little Chinese device from XT E-Ink. And it has a magnet on it. It clips to the back of your phone, and then you can read your. Let me boot it up. You can read your books on it. It's just a little teeny weeny thing, but its software is crappy. Chinese, sure. Crappy software.
Of course.
So somebody wrote something called Crosspoint. It's really great, and it's easy to firmware update it. Mm-hmm. And now I have an open e-ink reader that can read all EPUB stuff. It's little, but I can keep it in my shirt pocket.
See, if your phone could use that as a secondary screen and send like the Kindle app to it or something, right?
Well, I use Calibre. Calibre has web sync.
Yes.
So we have these open source ecosystems that sort of exist. All of this DMCA stuff keeps it a lid on it.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
And if
I literally have no idea why this is even allowed. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, I know why. Because
I'm sorry, right? Sorry,
I know exactly why.
I mean, I don't know why we as a people.
Why do we put up with it?
I understand why those companies want this.
Well, I think the World Economic, for a while we were in this kind of. I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. As an American, I thought it was pretty freaking great.
Milton Friedman, free trade. Everything's free trade. Whoever makes it best sells it to whoever doesn't make it, and it was actually pretty good. That's why we have the iPhone. We have all this stuff, and now we're not. We're shutting it all down. We're putting up the walls, putting up the borders. This is the time.
Yeah, for the rest of the world to step up. Yeah,
step up.
Somebody.
I'm not rooting against the U.S. by any means. But I am rooting for users.
This would benefit the citizens of the United States as much as it would benefit the citizens of any other country.
Yeah.
So this is, when someone who is patriotic might hear the phrase like the post-American internet, freak out. It's like, dude, this is going to be better for us. So I don't know why we're rooting for companies. We should be rooting for people.
Well, there you go. I think the tech lash is real.
Yeah.
AI is kind of thrown a monkey wrench into it. But
it's bizarre how much bad has had to happen for us to wake up to the reality of this industry.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Still wrestling with whether we're actually awake or not.
All right, let's cheer up. Let's talk about RunAs Radio with Mr. Richard Campbell.
This is a show I shot back in Lithuania with my friend Ian Cooper, who's here with me in London too. I just saw him a little earlier. And he's, what can you say about Ian? He's one of those polyglot sort of architects, the kind of guys like, look, we're going to be able to do this together. Let's go build the thing and so forth. He works for a company called Just Eat, which runs a bunch of the infrastructure for delivery of food services and things in and around the UK. And so business process automation, which is a common phrase in the IT world, is just this idea of anything I've got to repeat multiple times, I should automate it so that it's perfectly repeatable. There's lots of different tools in this place. And what we're really talking about is building automations that are maintainable, that multiple people can use, multiple people can work on, that over time they can evolve and improve and so forth. So that's a documentation flow and source control and so forth. And often with these BPA tools, they're sort of done seat of the pants, one-timers and kind of unmanaged, usable by you, but really no one else. And that creates its own set of problems. So we were trying to talk through the governance side of being responsible with automation so that it can be maintained and to be able to know when things are working properly and when they fail, how they fail, and how to recover from it.
Hey, everybody, it's Leo Laporte. It's the last week to take our annual survey. This is so important for us to get to know you better. We thank everybody who's already taken the survey. And if you're one of the few who has not, you have a few days left. Visit our website, twit.tv/survey26, and fill it out before January 31st. And thank you so much. We appreciate it. Now, let's talk whiskey.
Yeah. On my way out to this trip out to London, I needed to come in a day early so that I didn't have to rush to the airport and things. And fortunate timing, a buddy of mine was having a birthday and also could pick me up for the night. So I arrived with gift in hand. And that gift was a fine Highland whiskey by the name of Tullibardine, the 18, in fact. Tullibardine is not the oldest whiskey not the oldest distillery in the world. It's in Perthshire, which is just north of Edinburgh, about 75-minute in a little town called Blackford, named supposedly for the fact that a Nordic queen died there in the 10th century trying to ford the river. So they called it Blackford. But if today you would drive out of Edinburgh on the M9 and get up to Blackford, which is where Tullibardine is. Blackford is famous for the first recorded sale of beer in Scotland. So Tullibardine is also a hill, and as well as had a castle and things on it as well. And in 1488, King James IV bought beer from that area in Blackford. Barrels of beer for his coronation. The beer had been made there since the 12th century. The water there, the spring is absolutely phenomenal. So it was a great beer making place. He was so happy with that beer in 1488 that the first royal charter of Scotland ever given was to the brewery there in 1503. So this is super old school and has nothing to do with the whiskey made today, except that you will notice on a Tullibardine bottle, it says 1488. And the only reason is because of King James in his beer. What is at Tullibardine that is that ancient is the Tullibardine Chapel. That chapel was originally built in 1446 and had expanded and so forth until about the 16th century, where it still stands today, largely untouched since the 16th century. And that's where the name Tullibardine for the distillery actually comes from. There were several attempts to open distilleries in that area. So 1798, William and Henry Bannerman started a distillery, but it only ran for about a year and it shut down. But they did name it for the chapel, which at that point was already 300 years old. So that, they used the name for there. There was another distillery set up in 1814, which ran until 1837. It burned down and wasn't replaced. So by 1900, there are 3 breweries, 2 of which are soon about to bankrupt, and a maltings facility. The last brewery standing there runs until about 1927, and then all alcohol production stops in the Blackford area until that last distillery standing is bought by William Delme Evans. This is the guy who built the Jura distillery and facilities and the Craiglachie. And so in 47, he buys the land, the shut down brewery, and in 49 starts producing spirit from it. And that's essentially the distillery that stands till this day. A few years on, by 1953, William has health problems, and so he sells it to the Brodie Hepburn Group, who run it for 20 years or so when it gets merged into Invergordon Distilleries. So this is one of those few stories where it's a Scottish distillery not owned by Diageo. In 1971, when Invergordon has control of it, they double the number of stills, expand the washbacks and so forth. A lot of what is at Tullibardine today comes from the Invergordon expansion. It's acquired by White and Mackay, which is the blenders, and they use a lot of their intent in acquiring it was to use a lot of the alcohol that was in storage, the laid up barrels for their blends, but they find that a lot of those barrels are in fairly rough shape and not the quality they want in their blends. And so by 1994, they shut everything down. And it stays mothballed for almost a decade until a private consortium run by Michael Beamish and Douglas Ross acquire the distillery for maybe £1 million, like a bargain, again, with a lot of laid up barrels. They had intended to take those old casks and sell them, but they too found they had problems. And so actually started running the stills and brought in some specialist distillers and got things up and running again. So that by 2011, they sold it to Picard Vin and Spirits, which is a French conglomerate of wine and spirit making. These days, that group has been reorganized. By 2013, it was called Terroir Distillers. They also own the Highland Queen blend, and that's been the controlling interest of Tullibardine ever since. So this is nominally a Highland, but it's the very, very southern part of the Highlands. You know, the south side of Edinburgh, you'd be going into the lowlands. So it's kind of its own space. It's not that close to Spey. They're big on bourbon casks, but also use a lot of wine casks because they are ultimately owned by a vintner as well. So they have access to a lot of wine casks. Production is a sort of mid-scale, 2 million a year, 2 million liters a year with a 6-ton mash tun, 9 washbacks of about 38,000 liters each. They use wooden lids on those, 52-hour fermentations, very biddling. 2 20,000 liter wash stills, 2 16,000 liter spirit stills. So nothing massive. And again, you'll find most of their whiskey is aged in bourbon casks. They're big on first fill and second fill. So first fill means fresh from America, used once. Second fill, they've already had Scotch in them once, and now they're using it again. But most of the first fills, and most of the aging will happen in those remade bourbon casks, and then they will do a year or 9 months in some kind of finishing cask. Might be sherry, might be any number of the French wines they have access to, Marseille, Sauternes, Burgundy, Pinot. So there's lots of choices there. That is not what happens with this 18. This 18 is it would almost be a Speyside in a lot of ways because it is just first fill bourbon, it's finished in sherry. And it is very Speyish. It is light and fruity, full of caramel and vanilla. And I had brought it as a gift and said, you can put this away if you want to keep it. Said, no, we'll open it. And we finished it at the party because it was that good. 43% probably has some color in it. They don't say it doesn't, so it probably does. But for an 18-year-old, a little off the beaten path, most people haven't heard of Tullibardine because they don't have the marketing budget that a Diageo has. $140. You know, you can barely get there. Like a Dalmore 12 is that price. And this is an 18-year-old. So it's a bargain for a nice, light drinking Highland. And a beautiful bottle, a beautiful box that it comes in. It's a nice gift. And I can't recommend it enough. That's one of the cheapest 18-year-olds you'll ever find anywhere in a whiskey.
Nice.
Yeah, just a good find. Very pleased with it. And as you can see, the box is pretty with the old picture drawings of people making whiskey, and just been a ringer, or an easy ringer, and it was very appreciated by everyone around. So I would recommend it.
Well, now while we've been talking, Paul has been writing because Microsoft's.
Guess what just happened?
In fact, Paul filed a story while we were talking. I'm impressed, Paul. You're muted still. Is that me or is that you?
No, that's me. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, no, sorry, Richard. I missed your segment because I was busy cobbling this together. But
I'm impressed.
It's out. Just a quick report, and then I do a longer analysis piece later. But Microsoft's doing pretty good. Net income, $38.5 billion in revenues of 81.3. I haven't had a chance to get into the AI side. I just laid out the basic, 3 big businesses, and I'm ignoring Microsoft Cloud because they made it up. But 17% gain year over year in revenues. Productivity and business processes, that's the business that does Microsoft 365, is again their biggest business, up 16% to $34.1 billion. Intelligent Cloud, Azure revenues up 29% to $32.9 billion, so pretty close. And more personal computing to $14.3 billion, a decline of 3%. Revenues from PC makers and devices for Windows were up only 1%, and Xbox content and services revenue declined 5%. So I need to dig through their presentation and then listen to, or at least read their post-earnings conference call, which is probably happening pretty soon. So there'll be more next week, but that's the high level.
So 60% increase in revenue, in profit.
No, 60% in profit. Yeah.
60%.
Seven. Yeah. I mean, that might have been at one
stock
time.
would be through the roof, and it's not.
Yeah. 60% is not possible. Yeah.
Net income of 38. This is profit. 38.5 billion on.
So
three months.
CapEx is
$3 billion
basically
a week.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing okay. That most business is doing great.
Oh my God. But the CapEx is probably AI.
CapEx
mostly, right?
is 100% AI right now. It didn't go up that much quarter over quarter. So remember, last year they were saying they were going to come in around 80. I think they came in closer to almost 90 billion. But you can see the amount per quarter go up. So it was 24.2 billion and then 34.9 billion in the last two quarters. This quarter was 37.5. So.
There's no way of knowing whether they're making money in AI, though. They don't.
I think we can safely say they are not.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not going to.
But they're not telling us those numbers,
Right?
No. So
Well,
that's going to be.
they're
part
telling
of
us numbers, but they're all bundled up together. We don't know at the
Yep.
end.
And I didn't do this math, but remember, I don't know, 2 quarters ago, they actually gave an Azure revenue number, which means we've seen the gains each quarter since, which means we can actually come up with the number for this quarter for Azure. I just haven't done that. I have to look it up. I haven't had time for that.
Nice.
So.
Well, congratulations, Satya.
Yeah,
keep
you
you
can go
around.
back to blogging or whatever it is you do now.
Yeah.
You know,
I am curious to see how the stock price shakes out here.
I think a lot of it's going to depend on what they have to say. So I got to listen to this call, and I'm curious. I'm really curious.
Do you think the market's skeptical about the 90 billion a year AI investment?
Yeah, I mean, because what you're not seeing is the result at the other end of that, where it's like, see, this all made sense. Like, there's not even a hint of it, right?
Right.
Instead, what you have are people like Satya Nadella and the people that run all these other companies complaining because we're talking about AI slop and when no one's paying for AI, you know.
Yeah. They're
We'll
also
see.
complaining about stop calling it AI slop and
Yeah, that's what
Stop
Satya
making
says.
slop. Just stop making
Call
the
it
slop.
Yeah, the stock's down quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. You know, they need to talk about things, and we'll see if they can
4%
turn that
after
around.
hours. I mean, of course, the market's closed. That's why they released this at 4.
Yeah.
But $21 down after hours trading. You can see that huge drop. Now it's come back up, and but the call is going to happen. And
This is not, I wouldn't call what I'm about to say analysis, but what did I say? It was 32.9 billion in CapEx, 29% gain quarter. No, that must be year over year. And then what did I say? Their profit was 38.5. They actually made a bigger profit than they spent on AI infrastructure. So something happened. I'm curious. I don't think it was AI, by the way. I think it was a one-time a year ago. Something wasn't so great, and that might have explained it. But
one of the things that happened recently in the last couple of weeks is Microsoft say we're going to pay for all of the data centers. We're not going to put the burdens of those data center costs, electricity and water on.
Yeah, but was he doing like this thing behind his back, or was he winking a lot, or did he have like a twitchy thing going on?
Pay and there's pay. There's different there's different ways of paying.
There's also the part of they're using shell companies to set these data centers up. So I suspect we're only going to see this follow those rules when they actually get rolled into Microsoft.
Right.
There's a real conversation going on about who's actually building these data centers, because all of the big players are using shells.
Well, and, and there's also concern that these shell companies could be go bankrupt because
could be evaporated intentionally. Like it reminds me of the undersea cabling crisis 2001.
Oh, interesting.
Where all these shell companies funded, set up for cables and disappeared before they were finished.
Interesting. So this
next
is
stop, space.
Yeah, it's a strategy. It's a strategy to hide the liability, to be able to overorder, right? The old, I'm opening 10 windows to buy 2 tickets to Taylor Swift, and I'll only keep one of those windows in the end. The rest will disappear. Like there's all these mechanisms that they're using to optimize their ability to build what they want, but they are ordering far more than they need.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
I can't wait
it
to
should
listen to
eventually
these
be business
guys.
studies that should lead to regulation about this is disruptive to economies. This is what happens when you have too much money concentrated in one place.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and loopholes like crazy that you pay CPAs a lot of money to use. And
as my wife observed, if we were running our business or little business like OpenAI, we would be called a charity at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well. So it's the world as we know it.
Yep.
Paul Thurrott, thank you for that last minute update. I knew we would be able to do that. Next week, of course, we'll spend more times on the earnings learnings, but I think the top line stuff is pretty clear.
I mean, I would say not much has changed at the top line, right? This has been the way it's been for the past, 3-5 quarters, whatever.
Apples are tomorrow.
Yep.
And it's going to be, we were taking wagers on MacBreak Weekly, whether it'll be Apple's best quarter ever or whether it'll be Apple's best quarter ever.
Right. It's going to be, it's going to be both.
We're pretty sure it's Apple's best quarter.
Actually super happy that Amazon and Alphabet aren't until the following week.
My God.
That is, having these things dump on me all at the same time is the worst.
Yeah.
So that's good for me. So thank you, world, for once.
It took one liquor segment for you to write up that article. I'm impressed.
Well, it was a quickie.
He's a pro, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
I've written before.
Once or twice.
Not his first rodeo. And it was not exactly a long whiskey bit either.
No.
I was getting nervous at the end because I could tell you were kind of wrapping up, and I'm like, "Oh man!"
Can we talk about the War of 1812 a little bit more and how it affected?
Thank you. I was like, "All right, I got 2 more paragraphs." Yep.
Paul Thurrott is at Thurrott.com. That's where you'll find his intrepid analysis. Become a premium member. It's absolutely worth it. Great stuff there for everyone. THURRO.com. His books are at leanpub.com, including the field guide to Windows 11 and Windows Everywhere. Some couple of really good books at leanpub.com. Richard Campbell is at runasradio.com. That's where you'll find the RunAs Radio podcast. And .NET Rocks with Carl Franklin, if you're a .NET fan. And they join together at the hip once a week to do this show every Wednesday for
RunAs, Thursdays for .NET Rocks, and to be sure, we time shift. So I record in advance.
It's a magic thing. It's
really great. To know I have I'm recording RunAs tomorrow at the NDC conference for March.
And by the way, you're going to be going with us to the Zero Trust World that ThreatLocker's putting on in Orlando, and I think you're going to get some interviews there as well.
We'll pick up a couple of security shows. I'm excited about it.
Smart man. Get those.
I'm efficient.
Yes.
Trying to take the things.
Yes. We do Windows Weekly every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's 1400 East Coast time, 1900 UTC. Math is hard. You can watch us live if you want. You don't have to. I mean, we record it after all, but you can, if you wish, watch us live on a variety of platforms. We're in the Club Twit Discord for our wonderful club members. Thank you, club members. Thank you. But you also can watch, as many club members do, on YouTube, Twitch, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Kick. There's chats in many of those. I watch the chat. I see everybody's comments. Thank you. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at Windows at paulsthurrott.com, but also at twit.tv/WW. And on YouTube, there's a video channel on YouTube dedicated to Windows Weekly because we do video as well as audio. So you could go there. That's a good thing for clipping little segments to send off to friends and family. Everybody can watch YouTube after all. Best way to get the show or any of our shows is to find a podcast client you like. There are lots of choices. I like Pocket Casts, but there's many others. And you could just select Windows Weekly. You can do the audio or the video or both if you want. We don't mind. And if you like the show anyway, give us a nice review wherever you download your podcast from. We appreciate it. Helps people discover us. There is, as Jarno says in our Discord, there's also a YouTube channel dedicated to Windows Whiskey called weirdstufffrommycloset.com.
Something weird from my closet.
Something weird. I never get that right.
But
Something
it's just called
weird.
Windows Whiskey. Yeah.
Windows Whiskey. Something weird from mycloset.com. You'll actually go to that playlist that Kevin King's been maintaining of all the whiskey segments.
112, 111. Like, it's a lot.
Incredible.
Where I think the last one is from the last of my friend Niall's rare collection. That
Kevin says he's a little behind, so he's catching up.
He's not that far behind. It's like 4 or 5 or 6.
It's a lot of work.
There's some real good ones coming up, though. As you've already experienced, that weird whiskey from the rum place and the Lithuanian experience.
And the one you should never, ever, under any circumstances, try.
Yeah. Every so often we get it done, don't we? Every so often. Anyway, this weekend I'm headed up to the mothership. We're flying to Glasgow, going up, spending the night at the Craigielachi. Going to do the new Macallan Legends tour, hit Bendromac, and try a few new things. I'll be in the Quaish at the Craigielachi, taking pictures of bottles I've sampled and keeping notes. So,
is there someone? Do you have an Instagram or somewhere people could follow that? Do you post it anywhere?
No, that's not my way.
That's not your thing. No. Not even.
I share it here. If you want to,
keep watching. Here. We'll see it all here eventually. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will see you next time on Windows Weekly.